Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. National Anime Inheritance. I choose Six Paths Obito. Chapter 81. System, What's Going On? Looking at the options in front of him, Shinji couldn't help but complain. There's only one skill that increases spiritual power, and it's 1/30th of it. With the spiritual power of that busty girl, I'm afraid she can't even add one card to me. What about Sanshinjia Shield, Shuangtiangui Shield, and Gudian Zan Shield? These three skills made him excited. He originally wanted to choose Shuangtiangui Shield to prepare a healing skill for himself. But now, none of the three skills are in the options. The use of skills such as Sanshinjia Shield requires the support of the spiritual object, Shield Shun Liuhua. The host does not have Shield Shun Liuhua, so this system directly filters those skills. Looking at the options that were left, Shinji was a little tearful. I spent 10 detonating talismans, and I thought I could get the double heaven return shield, which is a small profit. Now isn't this a big loss? I don't want to choose the spiritual power gift of the big-breasted girl. If the host doesn't want to choose from the option rewards, he can also cancel the option rewards and choose the killing reward. The killing reward is 1,000 inheritance points, 2 skill points, and 1 killing point. Friendly reminder, if there are option rewards you don't want or can't use in the future, you can also replace them with equivalent killing rewards. Killing reward, there is also this. Why haven't I heard you say it before? Quoting the system's prompt, Shinji finally felt relieved. Because you didn't ask, the system answered as a matter of course. Quote. Giving up the idea of reasoning with the system, Shinji carefully looked at the new choice it gave. A line of words caught his attention. Killing points. System, what is this? Shinji asked curiously. Killing points are special points that can only be obtained by the host after killing or pseudo-killing. Currently, the host cannot use it, but when the host upgrades to LV10, the system will open a new function. At that time, the host can use killing points to redeem rewards. This system strongly recommends that you save killing points first, so that you don't have money to buy goods when the new function is opened. This system, you are really getting more and more jokes. Shinji laughed, but no matter how much he joked, he planned to take the system's advice. After all, anyone can harm himself, but the system will not. I give up the option reward and choose the killing reward. Ding, you choose the killing reward. 1,000 inheritance points, 2 skill points, and 1 killing point have been delivered. He clicked on his personal panel. Inheritance name, Six Paths Obito Naruto type. Inheritance level, LV7 2404,000. Current spiritual power value, 23 cards. Remaining skill points, 9. Originally, there should be 11 skill points, but in order to improve the power of armament hockey and one sword style II, he upgraded them to LV2, so there are still 7 points left. Looking at his abundant skill points, Shinji suddenly thought of a question. He remembered that after he added points to the shadow clone technique to LV3, the system had prompted him. If you continue to add points, the effectiveness of this ninjutsu will change greatly. Although it takes a full 10 points to continue adding points, the improvement is also very generous. By the way, system, can I keep adding points to the skills of others obtained by killing? Ding, answer the host, you can only upgrade the skills obtained by killing to LV3 at most. Friendly reminder to the host, the power of LV4 skills will be greatly improved compared to LV3. Is there really an upgrade limit? Shinji sighed. After all, it's someone else's ability. It's useful, but it can't accompany me all the way to the end of the strong. Which skills can break through the upgrade limit of LV3? Shinji asked curiously. The Naruto type ninjutsu given by the system reward, or the Naruto ninjutsu you mastered through inheritance upgrade. Only the skills that match your inheritance world can break through LV3 and evolve to a higher level. Looking at the various skills in his character column, Shinji nodded slightly. It seems that I still have to focus on Naruto skills. The power of the Naruto world is the power I can rely on most in this world. Host, there is still a reward for pseudo-killing S-level inheritors. Do you want to open it? The system sent a new reminder. Open. Expanding kill, pseudo-kill, reduced reward, easy to survive, Fujitora's inheritance reward options. You can choose a reward from the following options. 1. Gravity Blade Tiger. One of Fujitora's famous skills, accumulates gravity on the blade and swings it to increase the weight of the object and release gravity waves. As long as it is developed to a high enough level, it can even crush mountains. Please note that since you are not a descendant of Fujitora, you cannot practice and improve Gravity Blade Tiger, but you can use skill points to improve the skill level. 2. Hell Brigade Gravity Enhancement. Enhance the gravity within a certain range of yourself by multiples, and when it is powerful, it can press people to the ground and make them unable to move. Please note that since you are not a descendant of Fujitora, Hell Brigade cannot practice and improve, but you can use skill points to improve the skill level. 3. Spiritual Power Gift. If you kill, pseudo-kill, the reward is reduced S-level inheritor Yisheng. You can permanently obtain 1/20th of his spiritual power. The ratio changes randomly within 1/10, 1/20th, 1/30th. Of course, you can also give up the option reward and choose the killing reward, 1000 inheritance value, 2 skill points, 1 killing point. Please make a choice within 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28. Before the system finished broadcasting, Qin Shi's eyes lit up when he looked at the options provided by the system. Cool, gravity ability, I really want it so much. He completely forgot what he had just thought about, specializing in some skills and giving up other messy skills. Thousands of monsters, surrender in front of me. Qin Shi's mind has already imagined the magnificent scene of himself using enhanced gravity to press all the monsters in front of him. This system reminds the host that you can only upgrade your skills to LV3 at most, which is completely incapable of crushing high-level monsters to the ground. Does it matter? It's okay as long as the skills are cool. Choose 2. System, I choose 2. Skill 1 is directly pass, making the knife heavier and releasing shock waves. Is this what the heavy fruit should do? Let the enemy, especially the beautiful enemy, surrender at your feet. This is the essence of the heavy fruit. In my previous life, I played Pokemon, but I couldn't even pass the level, I just collected Pokemon. Now such a magical skill is in front of me, you want me to give up the opportunity to collect it, I can't do it. Qin Shi had a fanatical look on his face, and he had already waved his Zanpakuto to feel the feeling of using the Hell Brigade skill in advance. The system seemed to sigh. Host chooses reward 2, the heavy fruit skill Hell Brigade gravity enhancement has been loaded into your skill bar. Hope the host has a happy collection. After issuing the reward, the system disappeared. Qin Shi was left alone to experience the joy of the new skill. LV1 Regional Brigade. Gravity enhancement, about twice the gravity. He felt the change in his own weight. He could bear the gravity effect of the Regional Brigade, and he could also remove the restrictions on himself at any time. This power is not enough. System, add points to the skill, upgrade to LV2. Qin Shi just finished speaking, and suddenly felt his legs sinking. The whole person almost fell to the ground. This feeling, almost 5 times the gravity. Qin Shi was a little happy. 5 times the gravity is equivalent to a person who originally weighed 120 kilograms, suddenly increased to 600 kilograms. If it were an ordinary person, this pressure might make him lie on the ground. As for the inheritor, although he can bear it, it is inevitable that he will slam his feet and surrender after such a sudden blow. If you continue to add points, you will need 3 skill points. Qin Shi hesitated for a moment and gritted his teeth. System, add points, upgrade the Regional Brigade. Gravity enhancement to LV3. The 9 skill points that were just abundant have been consumed to only 5 skill points in a short moment. But the upgrade of skills brings a rapid increase in power. Qin Shi suddenly supported the ground with both hands, exerted force on his knees, and tried not to let his knees touch the ground. He felt the change in his own gravity, which had reached 10 times the gravity. The increase in gravity is not just equivalent to carrying a heavy sandbag on your back. But every organ and every muscle in your body will become 10 times heavier than before. This whole body weight increase will greatly limit the sensitivity and speed of the movement. He gritted his teeth and forced himself to stand up, barely moving forward a step. Qin Shi was already breathing heavily. My physical strength is depleted too quickly. It's only been 3 seconds, and my spiritual power is almost exhausted. As expected of Sun Wukong, who has Saiyan blood, he actually trained with such a perverted method. He looked at the bent branches on both sides of the road. The range of gravity enhancement is not far, probably a 10-meter radius area centered on me. If there is an enemy within his gravity range, it is estimated that it will be difficult to move. Although it consumes a lot of mana and lasts only 3 seconds, it is basically a powerful control skill for the enemy. Hoo-hoo. It's really a way to torture yourself. The gravity effect is lifted. Qin-Shi supports his knees with both hands and breathes deeply. Of course, it is not his brain that enhances the gravity of the regional brigade to LV3. It is because he wants to train a physical skill. This is the inspiration he got from the anime, Dragon Ball, Frieza arc. In the Dragon Ball, Frieza chapter, Son Goku came to King Kai's planet for special training to fight against the Saiyans who were about to come to Earth. King Kai's planet has 10 times the gravity of Earth, and Goku's strength increased greatly after special training. This kind of gravity can make your body fully strengthened, which is much better than simple weight training. Qin-Shi wiped the sweat from his head. But I use Hell Brigade Gravity Strengthening, which consumes more spiritual power than Fujitora's Inheritor. If I keep using the gravity skill, even if it's only double gravity, I'm afraid I can't hold it for half an hour. He thought about it and suddenly spoke. System, discuss it. Can you arrange a training task? The kind that includes spiritual power consumption. Opening square bracket ... closing square bracket. What are you thinking about? This system is not your exclusive babysitter. Oh, okay. Qin-Shi yawned. There are so many terrifying monsters and dangerous assassins from the Dark Organization in this world. I am still a weakling in this world. I can't guarantee that one day I will be beaten to death with a brick by an antisocial inheritor while walking on the road. A sudden death traverser, or a system. Alas, you must remember to find a new host when the time comes, and you don't have to be a widow for me. If I die and you disappear with me, then just ignore what I said. We can't live together, but we can die together. Release training task. Task name: Gravity Training. Task content: maintain double gravity for 3 hours, during which the system will provide spiritual power consumption for the host's skills, but the gravity enhancement range is limited to the host itself. Task reward: inheritance value plus 200, basic physical skills upgraded to LV3. Does the host accept the task? Is that right? Qin-Shi twisted his arm. Mission accepted. As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately felt his body sink suddenly. The body that was light before, now it was as if there was a strong force pulling his body down. It's only twice the gravity, but my movement consumption is several times that of before. Qin-Shi punched and kicked, and his speed dropped a lot. Speaking of which, this snowy mountain is also a special terrain. Why don't I see the corresponding plants? Qin-Shi was already at the top of the mountain, but the top of the mountain was open. He walked forward to the edge of the flat land on the top of the mountain, ready to go down the mountain. The way down the mountain was full of mutant plants. There was an ice mushroom with a head of ice emerging from the soil. There was an ice watermelon pitcher with a blue body, a spring-like tail, and a watermelon on it. There was also an ice shooter that he had seen before, which could spray ice peas. Wow, this is a gathering place for ice and snow plants. Quote. Qin-Shi looked at the blue ice plants on the way down the mountain. The plants did not attack him. But Qin-Shi knew that as long as he took a step forward and stepped on the way down the mountain, those plants would attack him. It seems that this mountain is not easy to go down. Qin-Shi chanted and summoned a light shield on both sides of him. The 39 of Binding Path Round Gate Fan. Then, he continued to chant and condensed a small fireball at his fingertips. The 31 of Breaking Path Red Fire Cannon. The reason why the sand shield ninjutsu is not used is because the sand is formed into a ball. The whole way down the mountain is a steep downhill road, and the spherical shield is not suitable for such terrain. Then, let's go. Quote. Qin-Shi's body shook, and he began to exert force between his feet. Ninjutsu, instant body technique. His speed increased suddenly. Under the influence of double gravity, his speed barely reached the normal speed before. There were ice plants in front of him, and the attacks not only had damage, but also had deceleration skills. If he couldn't get away quickly, he would easily be slowed down and then set on fire by the plants. So his spiritual power rushed to his feet, and he ran at full speed without any intention of maintaining his physical strength. The first to discover the intruder was an ice watermelon pitcher. It turned around and faced Qin-shi, but before it could throw the ice watermelon on its tail, it was hit in the face by a fireball. Qin-shi blew the smoke from his fingertips, and his feet did not stop. He walked and shot, constantly clearing the mutant ice plants on the road. With the blessing of the dynamic vision of the Sharingan, the red fire cannon accurately hit every plant that blocked the road. Fire overcomes ice, so Qin-shi's fire skills can do a lot of damage to a single mutant plant. However, surrounded by ice plants all over the mountain, the power of fire skills is greatly reduced. He can't use the method of lighting a plant to set fire to other plants. A red fire cannon can accurately kill a mutant plant, but that's all. There are at least thousands of plants on this mountain, and even if Qin-shi squeezes them dry, he can't clear them all. As he walks farther and farther down the mountain, more and more plants are blocking the road. Puff! Several ice archers not far away keep shooting ice peas. In the mud next to them, there is an ice mushroom that is about to explode. In the sky, 2 ice watermelons are smashing over. Round gate fan. Qin-shi hid behind the light barrier and ran quickly with his teeth gritted. It was like an infantry soldier in an ancient war who raised his shield and rushed under the attack of the enemy's crossbowmen. Bang, bang, bang. Various ice attacks hit the round gate fan, creating several cracks in the round gate fan with average defense. Crack, crack, crack. After withstanding the attacks of several ice peas again, the round gate fan completely shattered and turned into light spots and disappeared. The attacks of ice plants hit like raindrops. With such intensive attacks, can people still catch their breath? Qin-shi ran while making seals with both hands. Ninjutsu, Earth Dragon hidden technique. His body sank suddenly and plunged into the mud of the mountain. The attacks of ice plants hit the ground, and the broken ice splashed everywhere, but failed to hit the target. Without the target of attack, the restless plants suddenly quieted down, walking around, as if there had never been an intruder. On the other side, Qin-shi held his breath and walked through the mud. When he was finally about to give up, he broke out of the ground and arrived at the foot of the mountain. Such a long downhill road. Luckily I burrowed underground at the right time, and arrived at the foot of the mountain just when I needed to take a breath. Looking back, Qin-shi looked at a patch of blue ice plants on the hillside, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. I really have to thank these plants for their hospitality along the way. In return, let me give you a grand fireworks. He made a seal with his hands. Ninjutsu. Explosion is art. As soon as the voice fell, the downhill surface of the snowy mountain erupted with explosions. Boom, boom, boom. The huge explosion broke through the soil, overturned the plants on the ground, and blew them up. This is the effect of 50 detonating talismans. When he used the Earth Escape Earth Dragon hiding technique to sneak into the ground and ran wildly towards the foot of the mountain in the mud. He also buried a lot of detonating talismans. After reaching the foot of the mountain, he used the detonating flame formation ninjutsu to detonate all the detonating talismans. Boom! The violent force caused by the explosion caused the snow on the snowy mountain to collapse and fall. The vast snowflakes rolled down the hillside, burying countless mutant plants. Oh my god, it's so big! Seeing the avalanche coming, Qin-shi didn't dare to stop. He immediately ran away from the snowy mountain. Not long after, the heavy snow had washed away the slope below the snowy mountain. The hillside that was full of frost plants before was now empty. Qin-shi turned back and took out plant cards from the snow. It's a pity that the cards were pressed under the avalanche and it's hard to find them. But looking at the thick stack of plant cards in his hand, Qin-shi's regretful mood eased a little. But it's also thanks to the avalanche clearing the field, otherwise even if the detonator blew up many plants. But the cards are still in the plant community after all, and it's not easy for me to pick them up. Putting the cards into the system space, Qin-shi left with satisfaction. Not long after walking from the foot of the snowy mountain, Qin-shi felt that the temperature was rising. At first, he felt very comfortable. But the further he walked, the hotter he felt. Many trees around have also turned into torchwoods. After killing a torchwood again and picking up the card, Qin-shi wiped his sweat. The temperature around him has risen to nearly 40 degrees. One moment it's a snowy mountain, and the next moment it's a hot summer. Who can stand this temperature difference? Don't you catch a cold when you go out? Is the land under your feet on a volcano? Otherwise, how could it be so hot? Qin Shi walked forward while complaining. The road in front of him is the only way to his next goal. The Eye of Inheritance shows that not far ahead of him is the location of the next S-level inheritor. But what's the situation with this inheritor? He has been staying in one place for a long time. Doesn't he feel hot? Such a high temperature is my. You must get away from it quickly. While he was wondering, Qin Shi found that in front of him, the fog was getting heavier. In the special terrain, he had encountered several times when there was almost no fog. And in the ordinary forest, as the game time continued, the fog concentration continued to decrease. But the fog in front of me suddenly became heavier. Could this special terrain be the foggy land? Pushing aside his doubts, Qin Shi continued to move forward. The visibility of the fog was only 5 meters. But just when Qin Shi was about to approach the place indicated by the Eye of Inheritance, he heard bursts of water splashing in his ears. Is there water? Qin Shi followed the sound of water. That is, quote. For a moment, his eyes were wide open. Because he was walking in the fog, he opened his Sharingan to observe the surroundings more clearly. Then he saw the scene in front of him. It was a small lake. The lake was filled with steam and the water was clear. This was a hot spring. Of course, he had seen hot springs before. In his previous life, he had gone to mixed-gender hot springs with his brothers. But what really made him wide open was the girl in the hot spring. The girl's long curly hair floated on the water, like solidified fat. She gently scooped up a handful of water with her arms and poured it on her slender neck. Qin Shi could only see the back. In order to observe the opponent's actions more carefully, Qin Shi further stimulated the effect of the Sharingan. The 3 Magatama rotated, and his vision became clearer. Such a pretty, no, such a good-looking opponent, even if I only see the back, I am shocked. Quote. Qin Shi was lying in the grass, commenting seriously. He thought of the TV series, Legend of Sword and Fairy, that he watched in his previous life. I'm afraid Li Xiaoyao felt the same way when he first saw Zhao Linger taking a bath. Because of the effect of the Sharingan, he was not very close to the girl. It was not to the point of alerting the enemy. Just when Qin Shi was hesitating whether to use the curved light to become invisible and launch a one-hit kill sneak attack in the hot spring, or use the Sharingan's illusion to control the opponent and let the opponent walk out of the water to prevent the enemy from setting up special means in the water, a black shadow rushed towards him. Because he was too focused on observing the enemy, so Qin Shi didn't find the other party at the first time. Aha! The black shadow hit Qin Shi fiercely, and suddenly there was a sound of collision. Qin Shi's figure turned into a puff of green smoke. Alas, I knew that a woman who dared to take a bath in this dangerous forest would not take some protection. The voice came from a tree next to the grass. Qin Shi was hanging upside down on the branch. From the beginning, the one squatting in the grass was just his clone. And his real body was hiding in the trees next to him to observe the opponent. After all, standing high, seeing far, everything is to better get information about the enemy. Bang! Qin Shi fell from the tree and landed steadily with a backflip. He looked at the strange creatures that attacked him. They were dark blue creatures that looked like small sharks but had 2 legs. So it's a Pokemon, you're called Land Shark. Qin Shi looked at the creature that looked like a little shark and smiled. So the one bathing in the hot spring is Zhu Lan, the inheritor of the Pokemon trainer. Zhu Lan's parents are the most famous breeding masters in Kyushu. They are not only good at raising animals, but can even manage some monsters. And Zhu Lan's inheritance is also quite peculiar. It is Miss Zhu Lan, the most beautiful champion of the Sinnoh region in the Pokemon world. In the anime, Zhu Lan's signature Pokemon is Garchomp. And Land Shark is the basic form of Garchomp before it evolves. Although Pokemon is cute, its power should not be underestimated. Qin Shi cheered up and was not confused by the cute appearance of the other creature. In the Pokemon world, Pokemon can go to heaven and earth and destroy the world. Although humans are lucky enough to train Pokemon, their individual strength is nothing compared to Pokemon that can spit fire and water. After missing the attack, the Land Shark stomped its feet. It stared at Qin-Shi, and suddenly stepped on a piece of sand, rushing straight towards Qin-Shi's eyes. Oh, ground skill, throwing sand. Sand shoveling, one of the skills of Pokemon, moves the fine sand to reduce the target's hit rate. If you want to reduce my hit rate, you have to hit me at least. Looking at the fine sand attacking his face, Qin-Shi made seals with both hands. Earth escape, Earth Dragon hiding technique. The whole person sank suddenly, hiding in the mud, avoiding the attack of fine sand. Just when he was about to sneak under the opponent's feet from the mud. When he wanted to use the decapitation technique in his heart to pull the land shark into the ground. Suddenly, the opponent stomped on the ground, and the earth shook instantly. As this, stomping, Qin-Shi immediately emerged from the ground. Stomping is a skill that slows down the opponent by stomping hard on him. Just as Qin-Shi showed his head, an iron fist attacked him. Bang! A sand hand grabbed the opponent's sneak attack fist. Don't hit the face when hitting someone. Qin-Shi emerged from the mud and looked at the strange creature caught by the ninjutsu sand hand. This is a small creature with a blue body, like a puppy. It belongs to the fighting Pokemon, Riolu. Ms. Zulin's two favorites are out. It seems that this classmate's inheritance has been developed very well. Being sandwiched between two Pokemon, Qin-Shi smiled. Let me see what you little pets can do. He took out his Zanpakuto and slashed at Riolu. Although Riolu is small in size, its body is extremely flexible. Not only did he dodge Qin-Shi's slash, he also fought back with a fist with 3 fingers. The punch was so fast, like a bullet. Bullet punch. Qin-Shi looked at Riolu's fast punch, his eyes widened, and the 3 Magatama appeared immediately. Under the effect of the 3 Magatama Sharingan, the bullet-like punch also slowed down in Qin-Shi's eyes. Qin-Shi moved left and right, using the footsteps of a boxing match to dodge all the bullet punches. But the round land shark on the side was not idle either, and it made 2 grunts. It twisted its round body and ran towards Qin-Shi. His claws glowed and looked extremely sharp. Is it the Dragon Claw? I didn't expect you to learn this skill so quickly. This is a mid to late stage skill. Qin-Shi looked at the sharp Dragon Claw, turned sideways, and blocked the Dragon Claw with his Zanpakuto. A land shark and a Riolu, the two Pokemons were fighting each other with punches and claws, and occasionally with dragon breath and vacuum waves. They used short-range and long-range attacks alternately, and they cooperated happily. However, as they fought, they found that the masked man in front of them could always dodge their skills at the extreme position. He even spit out a few flames that looked like balsam flowers from his mouth from time to time, counterattack. It was clearly a 2-on-1 battle, but the two Pokemon were getting more and more tired and injured. On the contrary, the masked man who was fighting them was always full of energy. Tired so soon? Please, I'm playing with you in double gravity. Pokemon like you, if you leave Kyushu and go to the Demon Realm, aren't you just a snack for those terrifying monsters? Qin-Shi curled his lips, and his hands became faster, with 4 kunai flying out from his left and right hands respectively. At the end of the kunai, there was an almost transparent silk thread tied. Ninjutsu, Sharingan Windmill 3 Great Swords. Qin-Shi pulled the silk thread violently. Round Shark and Riolu were tied tightly and collided with each other. Ninjutsu, Sand Shield. Fine sand poured out of his system space, forming a solid sand ball. Just stay in there quietly. You should thank me. Fortunately, I don't kill the first form Pokemon. As for the reason, it's because they are cute. If you evolve, I will be merciless next time. The sand ball closed, completely imprisoning the round land shark and Riolu inside. After dealing with these two Pokemon, Qin-Shi looked in the direction of the hot spring. The beautiful classmate Zhu was walking towards the hot spring in a panic. There was her black and white gauze dress. Take the clothes. Do you have any bad intentions? Qin-Shi asked righteously. Under the mask, the girl couldn't see his expression, but felt that the man in front of her was a big threat to her. Thread fruit skill parasitic thread. The flying silk thread in the air stuck to the girl's body. The girl's hand that wanted to take the clothes suddenly stopped in the air and was firmly controlled by the silk thread. You. Under the cat-faced mask, Qin-Shi shook his head. Don't you know that our survival in the forest can be seen by the teachers? What if you take a bath like this and are seen naked by those perverted teachers? The girl wanted to cry but had no tears. You should kill me, Otherwise, I will hate you forever. Her body was still in the water. Because the weather was too hot, she felt uncomfortable and finally found a place with hot springs and mist to take a bath. But because she was so comfortable in the bath, she forgot the time and was taken advantage of by the man in front of her. At this moment, she felt ashamed and wished she would be eliminated immediately. It's really strange. You're taking a hot spring bath by yourself. What does it have to do with me? Qin-shi asked curiously. There was mist floating on the hot spring, and it was in a special foggy terrain. Even if the two were only 7 or 8 meters apart, ordinary people couldn't see clearly at all. This is why the girl dared to take a bath here. In addition, she was an S-level inheritance, with first-class talent in beast control, and she already had 2 powerful Pokemon at a young age. Even the late-stage skills such as Dragon Claw were trained by her in advance, which was really a genius like a fowl. That's it, I don't have the capital to take a bath. However, she was an inheritance of the Beastmaster category after all. Like the card summoner inheritances such as Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Hearthstone, they all rely on external objects to fight the enemy. And she herself was just an ordinary person without any special abilities. Once the enemy got close to her, the end was one word, death. But compared to the life and death crisis, the girl's mind was full of other things. Did he see my body? I don't think so. After all, it's so foggy, and judging from his voice, he's not that close to me. Fortunately, it's okay. The fog is thick here, and I haven't been taken advantage of yet. Hurry up and eliminate him. It's so embarrassing, woo-woo. The girl began to cry softly. The crying was not loud, but Qin-shi, who had a keen hearing, still heard it. Under the cat mask, his face trembled. The 3 Magatama of the Sharingan was on, and the thick fog was the same as if it didn't exist in his eyes. He could even see the black mole on the girl's back clearly. The girl's crying made him a little flustered. But he changed his mind and thought that it was okay. The other party didn't know that he had the ability to enhance his vision. Otherwise, it would be a small matter to eliminate the other party, but he would be hated by the other party, so that he would be harassed endlessly after leaving the dungeon. This would be troublesome. If the other party threatened him, a beautiful boy, with the fact that he was being molested, wouldn't his reputation be ruined? How can he start a new life in the future? No, find a partner. No, the price is too high. Thinking of this, Qin-shi cleared his throat. Classmate in the thick fog, although the sound of your bath water is loud, the fog has blocked my eyes. I can't see your face clearly. Since you said you want to be eliminated, I will send you off. But don't worry, I used long-range skills throughout the whole process, and I didn't see your graceful figure at all. We can be ranked in the dungeon, but we are still good classmates outside the dungeon, so don't hold a grudge in your heart. If I know that you hold a grudge against me, don't blame me for sneaking in and watching you every time you take a hot spring bath. Don't worry, I will definitely move faster and more gently later, and won't make you feel too uncomfortable when you are eliminated. Qin-shi's explanation made the girl blush. Just when Qin-shi was about to continue speaking, the girl suddenly interrupted him forcefully. Okay, stop talking. I won't hate you, okay? Anyway, you didn't see me. I, Zhu Lan, have never lost to others since I was a child. I was eliminated by you because I am not as skilled as others. I have no complaints. I just hope you can do it quickly, because if I don't soak in the water, I will be really cold. After hearing the other party's words, Qin-shi no longer hesitated and threw the sword Clell card in his hand. The white long sword appeared out of thin air and flew around Qin-shi. Go! The long sword flew through the mist. At the moment the girl reacted, a touch of bright red had appeared on her neck. She turned around with difficulty, trying to see the other party's face clearly. But in the hazy light, she only vaguely saw a mask. Splash, the girl fell into the water again and disappeared as a light spot. S-level inheritor, Pokemon trainer Zhu Lan, was eliminated. It's over. Qin-shi let out a long sigh. He always felt that this matter seemed to be more difficult than the real fight with those S-level students. I almost forgot this. Suddenly, he slapped his head and strode to the hot spring. There was a black and white gauze dress and some underwear of the girl on the ground. She was eliminated like this. She didn't go to the elimination area naked, didn't she? After hesitating for a while, Qin made seals with his hands. Fire escape, great fireball technique. A flame spewed out of his mouth, burning the clothes on the ground into ashes. Finally it's over. Qin clapped his hands. I burned her clothes too, so she won't be naked now. Helping others is fun. I am really a good person who cares about others. Outside the forest, the girl in a dress walked out of the gate and came to the elimination area. She had a pretty face and dignified manners, and sat down in front of a seat with her skirt lifted. Beside her, several S-level students were already sitting there dejectedly. 1, 2, 3. Including myself, there are 7 students from the supernova class who have been eliminated. The girl was stunned for a moment. Kai Quan, who had an icy square face, walked over and asked coldly. Let me ask you, were you also defeated by a masked man? Masked man. Zhu Lan nodded. That man was able to subdue his 2 Pokemon in a short time, and he left him with no power to fight back. This was the first time he had met such a powerful man. In the past, whether in school or in inheritance potential, he was not comparable to ordinary people. Always living a life of being looked up to by others. Today, she suddenly suffered this tragic defeat, and she felt a little strange. She didn't seem to hate that powerful masked man. Anyway, I don't want to continue playing the survival game in that forest. It's good to come out. I originally planned to eliminate myself, but I just didn't have the heart to do it. That masked man is a gentleman. He didn't get close to me in the end and didn't let me be seen naked. Even if he eliminated me, he used a long-range flying sword. She thought to herself, and she had a special feeling for the masked man. That masked man, I heard from other supernova students that he has strong dynamic vision and observation skills, which made them suffer a lot. Tell me, how did the masked man eliminate you? Kai Quan took out a pen and paper from his chest pocket and planned to make a record. This masked man has become a thorn in his eyes. If he doesn't catch him, he's afraid he won't be able to sleep well. Hearing Kai Quan's words, Zhu Lan's whole body trembled, and then asked carefully. The masked man has a strong observation ability. Kai Quan nodded. I guess he should have a pupil technique that enhances vision, but I'm not sure which one it is. After all, there are many inheritances of pupil techniques. I need to further narrow the scope of judgment. I suspect. Hey, why are you crying? Seeing the student in front of him suddenly covering his face and crying, Kai Quan, who had an icy face, was at a loss for what to do. Masked man, you bad guy. I hate you. Zhu Lan, who had a Lolita face and a queen figure, cried loudly, completely ignoring the teacher and other students around her. You liar, I will hold you responsible, woo woo. Another S-level inheritor has been dealt with. System, hurry up and give the prize. Qin lazily said while taking a bath in the hot spring. You know what, the hot spring in this crater is so comfortable. When I came in, I felt so comfortable all over. No wonder Zhu Lan didn't want to leave. I don't want to leave either, ah. Putting his head on the small stone beside the hot spring, Qin groaned and closed his eyes to enjoy it. On his back, 2 big hands made of sand were knocking on his shoulders. The ninjutsu sand hand was developed by him to have a massage function. Opening square bracket ... Host, this is a survival copy, not a vacation copy. Please pay attention to your safety at all times. After a kind reminder, the system continued to broadcast the report. It was detected that the host defeated the S-level inheritor Zhu Lan. The other party died in the secret realm, but the real body did not die. It was judged as false kill. You get plus 500 experience points and 2 skill points. The reward options for killing, pseudo-killing, reduced rewards, Zhu Lan inheritance are being expanded. You can choose a reward from the following options. 1. Spiritual power gift. You kill, pseudo-killing, reduced rewards S-level inheritor Zhu Lan, and you can permanently obtain 1/20th. The ratio changes randomly within 1/10, 1/20th, 1/30th of her spiritual power. 2. None. Of course, you can also give up the option reward and choose the killing reward, 1000 inheritance value, 2 skill points, 1 killing point. Please choose the host, 30, 29, 28. What? Another option reward with nothing but spiritual power gift. Qin sat up from the hot spring at once. Zulin's inheritance is a Pokemon trainer. If the host wants to use her abilities, she must have a Pokemon. Quote. Alas, I worked so hard for so long, and I thought I would be rewarded with a cute Pokemon. Qin-Shi sighed. Then I have no choice but to choose the killing reward. Ding, the host chooses the killing reward. The reward has been received. Personal panel is being expanded. Host, Qin-Shi. Inheritance name, Six Paths Obito Naruto type. Inheritance level, LV7 3904 thousandths. Current spiritual power value, 23 cards. Remaining skill points, 9. Mastered skills. It's only one step away from upgrading. After taking a bath, Qin-Shi went ashore and put on his clothes. Now that I have enough skill points, I can upgrade a wave of skills. He looked at his long skill list. Lightning Release, Chidori is one of my trump cards. It is only at LV2 now. I need to continue to upgrade it. The system adds points. Ding. Consume 3 skill points. Chidori upgrades to LV3. Armament Hockey, which can enhance the power of weapons and moves, is also a magical skill. Add points to LV3. Ding. Consume 4 skill points. Armament Hockey upgrades to LV3. 1 sword style II. Lion Song is also one of my few powerful sword skills. Unfortunately, I don't have enough points. I will upgrade it to LV2 first. Ding. Consume 1 skill point. 1 sword style II. Lion Song upgrades to LV2. The skill points are instantly consumed until only 1 point is left. After adding points, Qin-Shi closed the system and continued to check the positions of the last 2 S-level inheritors. In the small map of the Eye of Inheritance, the light points representing the S-level inheritors are now 1 shining and 1 dark. What's even more weird is that the 2 light points are next to each other, which means they are in the same place. There have been no black spots before. If you are eliminated, won't the spots disappear directly? Qin-Shi looked at the black spots and asked curiously. System, what does this color of light mean? Ding, the black spot in the Eye of Inheritance indicates that the target has been killed but not eliminated. What? Qin-Shi was shocked. According to his understanding, this is a game copy. As long as you die in the game, you can reach the elimination zone outside the game, and you won't have any injuries left. But the system actually said that some students were killed in the copy but were not eliminated. Why is that? Qin-Shi asked. After a moment of silence, the system answered. Sometimes the dead may not be dead in both body and soul. Host, you need to find the answer to this question yourself. Find. Qin-Shi recalled the meaningless words in the system prompt. Okay, it seems that I can only go and see it myself. Qin-Shi positioned the target at the last light spot. Somehow, he felt a little uneasy in his heart, and always felt that this matter was rather strange. Don't be afraid of any pitfalls waiting for me. Set out on the road to find the last S-level inheritor. Qin-Shi glanced at the distance. It will take more than 2 hours to walk, it's a bit far. He jumped forward in the woods and clicked on the system task bar. Limited time Secret Realm Mission Plant Harvester completion, 29/30. After passing the dark swamp and snowy mountains, I have killed most of the mutant plants, and now I only need the last one. It's a pity that I can't find this last one. Qin-Shi speeded up his journey. He also encountered a lot of plants along the way, but he had killed most of them. He still couldn't see the newer plants. It's like collecting water margin character cards in instant noodles when I was a kid. The closer you get to the end, the more you're missing 1 or 2 character cards. It's still very difficult to collect 108 different characters. Just let it go. He continued to run, getting closer and closer to the last light spot. Just as he was about to get close to the last light spot, a ding sound suddenly rang in his ears. Ding, the host has been training under double gravity for 3 hours, and the relevant rewards are being settled. Task name, Gravity Training, task status, completed. 200 inheritance points have been issued, and the host's basic physical skills have been upgraded to LV3. Feeling the sudden reduction in weight on his body, Qin-Shi, who was still running, suddenly accelerated and almost hit a tree trunk. As the special training over, he landed in an open space, clenched his fists, and felt the changes in his body. I've never felt my body so light. Qin Shi jumped hard and actually jumped directly from the ground to the top of a big tree. After landing, he punched a rock on the ground. He also broke the rock with one punch. The basic ability of the body has greatly increased. Qin Shi was delighted to feel the changes in his body. However, the system's announcement did not end. Ding, the host's inheritance value has reached the upgrade requirements current, LV7 and 4104 thousandths, and the upgrade has begun. Ding, the upgrade is successful. The host's basic spiritual power limit +3, and 3 skill points are awarded. Drawing ninjutsu rewards. The host's luck has exploded, and the strongest physical skill 8 Gates of Dunjia has been drawn. Hiss. Qin Shi took a breath. It's the 8 Gates. This is the 8 Gates. As the iconic ninjutsu of Might Guy and Rock Lee in the Naruto anime, the 8 Gates ninjutsu can undoubtedly be called the strongest ninjutsu of physical skills. This ninjutsu temporarily gains powerful strength by unlocking the channels 8 Gates that bind chakra in the human body. Especially when the 8 Gates are fully opened, it is also called the 8 Gates ninjutsu formation, which can instantly gain dozens of times the power above the 5 Kage. Might Guy almost defeated the so-called invincible Six Paths Madara with his big move, Night Guy, with all 8 Gates opened, and was also willing to call you the strongest by the opponent. But the acquisition of power is not without price. The 8 Gates ninjutsu is an explosion of the body's extreme ability. The more gates are opened, the greater the damage to the body. Rock Lee, a physical skill genius who is still a genin, almost became a cripple after his muscles and meridians were torn after opening 5 gates. The 8 gates are powerful, and the basic physical skills must be upgraded to LV3 before they can be used. Qin Shi looked at the notes next to the skill. He had just completed gravity training, and in the current skill column, the basic physical skills had just been upgraded to LV3. Just after the physical skills were upgraded, I drew the 8 gates that require LV3 physical skills to perform. System, do you call this a random ninjutsu? It's just that the host was lucky and happened to draw the 8 gates. I'm just an emotionless system, there is no such thing as a backdoor. System, your arrogant personality. I like it. Qin Shi happily added points to the new skill. Ding, you consumed a little skill point and activated the first gate of the 8 gates, opening. You mastered the 8 gates physical skills, Lotus Flower. Opening the opening gate can remove the restrictions on the brain area. Can exert 100% of physical ability, overload body energy to increase attack speed and movement speed. The external lotus is a powerful ninjutsu that can be used after the door is opened. First kick the opponent into the air, and use the bandage on the arm to tightly bind the opponent's body in the air. Then hold the opponent's body in a rotating manner and hit the ground violently. Although there is no bandage, the elastic rope should be able to be used barely. Qin Shi continued to add points. Ding, you have consumed a little skill point and activated the second gate of the 8 gates of Dunjia, the rest gate. Opening the rest gate can remove the physical fatigue limit for a short time. And overload the body's energy to restore physical strength, which can offset the fatigue caused by the energy consumption speed of opening the door. Keep adding. Ding, you have consumed a little skill point and activated the third gate of the 8 gates of Dunjia, the life gate. You have mastered the 8 gates of Taijutsu, the inner lotus. After the life gate is opened, the attack and speed can be further improved. The body will also begin to become congested and red, and will emit green energy. And, inner lotus, is the special physical technique that can be used after the gate of life is opened. First, hit the opponent at a speed exceeding the speed of sound. After the continuous kick, tie the opponent with a bandage and pull him up, and then hit the enemy to the ground with a heavy punch. Remind the host that the damage to the body will increase significantly after more than 3 gates. Each gate unlocked requires 3 skill points. 3 points. This is already the number of points for many skills to upgrade to LV3. Qin Shi did not continue to add points. Continuing to open the 4th gate will also damage the body. I hope I don't need this trick. After adding points, Qin Shi felt that he had not used the 8 gates, but his speed had also increased a lot. Is it the effect of the basic physical technique of LV3? With the improvement of basic physical technique, each of his movements is more in line with the essence of martial arts, and the consumption of the body is also reduced accordingly. Not long after, he suddenly stopped. Is this a special terrain? Qin Shi looked at the scenery in front of him in surprise. Barren hills, dead trees, and countless tombstones. As time went by, the time in the game also came to the 11th hour. Night is coming. Dusk, fog, and deserted cemetery. The cold wind blew, making Qin Shi shiver. This place has a weird atmosphere. Qin Shi touched his shoulder. Is it haunted? Quote. PFF'd, don't talk nonsense. Believe in science. He just finished cheering himself up, and he heard faint crying in his ears. The crying sounded like sobbing. It's a bit creepy. But looking at the direction indicated by the Eye of Inheritance, it was deep in the cemetery. He could only bite the bullet and continue to walk in. In the dark cemetery, Qin Shi finally found the source of the crying. It was a female classmate in a yellow school uniform. She was short, had red hair, and was squatting on the ground, covering her face and crying. Classmate, what happened to you? Qin Shi did not step forward, but stood behind the long-haired girl. Woo woo, my teddy bear is blind, my teddy bear is blind. It was bitten by a wild dog. I dug out the eyes of the wild dog and put them on my teddy bear. But it's a bear, how can I use the eyes of a dog? I can only bury it in the ground, it's my best friend. But now, I can't find it, where did I bury it? Woo woo. Hearing the girls crying, Qin Shi instantly had a headache. What the hell, little bear, wild dog, do you think this is your home? This is a game copy, how can there be your teddy bear? Hearing Qin Shi's questioning, the girl suddenly turned her head. Her body clearly didn't move, but her head turned 180 degrees, like a doll with its head turned upside down. Not here, my child isn't here, impossible, you must have taken my little bear, give it back to me, give it back to me. She twisted her limbs and turned around, her head turned, her whole body was like a spliced toy. I am an A-level inheritor, I have terrifying fire magic. If you don't give me my little bear back, I will burn you to death. The girl rubbed her hands mechanically, and a red fireball appeared in her hands. The fireball was thrown by the girl fiercely. Fragmented fire. Seeing the arrival of the fireball, Qin Shi did not dodge. Playing fire escape in front of Uchiha Ninja, are you serious? He made seals with his hands and puffed up his mouth. Hot flames spewed out of his mouth. Fire escape, great fireball technique. The larger fireball instantly swallowed the girl's fragmented fire, and the strong fire enveloped the girl. Wah! The girl howled in the flames. But Qin Shi frowned even more. You were hit by my fireball, but you didn't disappear. Is it really a ghost? Just when Qin Shi was puzzled, the girl actually struggled to break free from the fire of the fireball. There was a red energy shield around her. This was an energy shield transformed by the power of fire. No wonder the fireball had no effect on you. The style is so lowly style, and it's always a little bear. I think I know what character you inherited. Qin Shi took out a few kunai from his backpack. It turned out to be the inheritance of Annie Asta in League of Legends. Annie Asta, the daughter of darkness. In the world of League of Legends, she is a young girl magician living at the foot of the mountain in the north of Noxus. She has an unpredictable personality and always uses her proficient fire magic to destroy things that make her angry. And the flame shield that appeared beside the girl to protect her. It was one of Annie's skills, the lava shield. Give me back my little bear. The girl roared and opened her mouth. A fierce flame continued to spray out. This is Annie's inherited skill W, burning. Instant body technique. Qin Shi accelerated his feet and relied on his quick body movements to avoid the girl's burning. The flame wave followed closely behind him. Give it back to me, give it back to me. The girl released her furious emotions everywhere. Qin Shi threw the kunai in his hand while running. Hee, with your current inheritance, you can't even summon teddy bear tigers, so don't expect to defeat me. Qin Shi, who was running, stopped suddenly. 3 Magatama suddenly appeared in his eyes. Ninjutsu, Sharingan windmill, 3 big swords. He waved his hands, and thin threads appeared faintly, binding the girl tightly. Earth escape, the art of beheading in the heart. Qin Shi did not delay at all, dived into the soil, and pulled the girl underground. The girl was buried in the soil. The dead should be buried in peace. Qin Shi lifted a handful of soil with his feet and covered the girl's head directly. Dead. This is the conclusion Shi came to after seeing the girl's appearance. She is not only lifeless, but her body has also been transformed. Like a puppet. And, I already know who is really playing tricks. Shi turned his head and looked at a tombstone not far away. In his Sharingan, several chakra lines followed the girl's body and connected to the tombstone not far away. Right, the puppeteer, the classmate of the supernova class. Under the cat-faced mask, Shi said coldly to the tombstone. He, I didn't expect that there is a character like you in Osiris Red. Behind the tombstone, a person walked out slowly. His blue school uniform had been torn, and his entire head and body were wrapped in a black square scarf. Hello, classmate Red School Uniform, my name is Scorpion, I hope you remember this name firmly. A thin and long tongue suddenly stretched out from the man's body wrapped in black clothes, like a snake's tongue. Because later, I will slowly kill you and turn you into my cute puppet. Shi looked at the man in black in front of him. In the dormitory, Pei Yula had introduced 9 supernova class classmates to him. He knew the names and backgrounds of the first few people, but only the man in front of him named Scorpion. All he knew was that he lived in a dilapidated city in Ningzhou that had been invaded by monsters. There were homeless people gathering there, and it was also a favorite hiding place for all kinds of criminals. But because of his S-level inheritance, he became famous and was fortunately discovered by a passing admissions teacher, who recruited him into the Monster Hunting Academy. Scorpion, his inheritance is the same as his name, also Scorpion, an S-level inheritor, and a master of puppetry in the Naruto world. When Pei Yula mentioned him, his expression was a little cautious. Old Chin, my intuition tells me that this person must have a lot of secrets. Because the person who inquired about intelligence in our family said that there is no historical record of this person called Scorpion. Because in that city, everyone who knew him is dead. After the memory ended, Shi took out the Zanpakuto on his back. Scorpion is a member of the strongest villain organization, Akatsuki, in Naruto. He can manipulate puppets to fight and is a powerful enemy who can kill a city with one person. And the sense of crisis given to him by the man in front of him is stronger than all the students in the supernova class before. Even if it is Scorpion in Naruto, the puppet he manipulates cannot be like a living person and can speak. This is no longer making puppets, but directly making people into puppets. Is he a freshman? How can he have such a skill? Shi's Sharingan is open, be careful and alert. Although the souls required for the sacrifice ceremony are enough, a little more can always speed up a little. The man in black stretched out a pair of almost skinny hands. Come, take a look at my masterpiece. I have made many outstanding works of art, but it's a pity that those stupid teachers in the school can't see it. You should be able to appreciate it, don't worry, I won't let you die so soon. If you die, my masterpiece will have no audience. The man in black smiled and his fingers began to tap like playing a piano. As he tapped, puppets stood up from behind the tombstone. That is. Shi opened his eyes wide. All the puppets were wearing red or yellow school uniforms. These people were all freshmen who had just enrolled this year. But there was no life in their eyes, their limbs were stiff and twisted, and they were already dead. One puppet after another walked out from behind the tombstone, a full 30 people. All these puppets staggered towards Shi. Humph, you are not afraid of retribution for using corpses as puppets. Shi's eyes widened with anger. System, add points, strengthen the sword style II Shizigurger to LV3. Ding, the sword skill is successfully strengthened and triggers a very small probability of evolution. The skill of II Shizigurger is upgraded to II Shizigurger, and the power is greatly improved. The system prompt sounded in his ears. But he had no time to be happy at this time, and he was only angry. The puppets made of the students' corpses were covered with dense needle and thread holes, and there were strange dislocations of limbs and facial features. All of this showed how inhumane torture these students suffered before being eliminated. Although you will not really die in this forest copy. But the pain suffered before death will be deeply imprinted in memory. You are guilty, and the crime is unforgivable. His head drooped slightly, his left foot kicked back, and his hand was placed on the hilt of his Zanpakuto. This is the posture of drawing the sword. Armament hockey, entangle. The black breath emanated from his body, entangled the silver Zanpakuto into a pitch-black color. This is not over yet, his breath surged again. 8 gates of ninjutsu, the first opening gate, open. The second rest gate, open. The third life gate, open. With 3 roars, his body became red with blood. A strong breath burst out of his body, and the spiritual power formed green steam. The dust under his feet suddenly floated up, and the gravel burst out in all directions. His fingers gripped the hilt tightly, his fingertips were red with blood, and trembled slightly. Your revenge, I will avenge you. Qin Shi, with his head down, whispered to himself, and his body pressed down again. Now, please, rest in peace. Aikito Ryu II Death Shishijej, cut. Clang, the long sword cut through the twilight. A light suddenly appeared. 30 puppets with different shapes seemed to be fixed in place. Then there was a boom. All of them broke into 2 pieces and fell to the ground. Seeing the puppets he controlled all fall down in an instant, the man in black ripped off his hat. Inside was a terrifying face. Not only were the eyes of different sizes, but even the nose and mouth seemed to be pieced together. The mouth opened and closed, just like the mouth of a puppet. Actually defeated all my works with one blow. How is it possible? How can a student from the Red Dormitory of Osiris, a freshman of the B-level inheritance, resist my 100 machines operation? His eyes were full of shock, and his feet stepped back unconsciously. 100 machines operation, one of the strongest secrets of the genius puppeteer Scorpion in the Naruto world. Use chakra lines to control 100 puppets with different weapons and skills at the same time. And make a regeneration core in the puppet's body. Through this device, the operators can be directly added to the puppet, so that hundreds of puppets can be controlled as freely as one's own hands and feet. Compared to controlling only a single puppet, even if hundreds of puppets act together, there will not be much decrease in time and precision of action. Hoo-hoo, 100 machine operation. It's a pity that you haven't used it well yet. Qin Shi panted. Only 30 puppets, and you dare to call yourself 100 machine operation, what a boast. He said so, but Qin Shi was shocked in his heart. 100 machine operation is one of the secret skills of Scorpion, who has the strength of Kage in Naruto. Although the opponent's 100 machine operation is still incomplete, the opponent's inheritance development has gone beyond the level of freshman to be able to use this secret skill. With this strength that almost catches up with me, and a face full of villains, you tell me that he is a freshman. It's impossible that I can develop my inheritance to a high level at a young age by relying on my unremitting efforts like me. Qin Shi muttered to himself. He used the 3-door opening of the 8 gates of ninjutsu, as well as the blessing of Sharingan and armament haki. Only then did Shizigurger's sword skills exert amazing destructive power. Finally, he completed the feat of breaking 30 armors with one sword. Therefore, he suppressed the opponent's offensive, making the opponent timid and afraid to attack him again. The reason why Qin Shi used all his strength at the first time. Because he found out through the battle with Annie's puppet in front of him. The puppet made by the puppeteer in front of him was a sample of a new corpse. Not only does it have the excellent physical ability of high-level inheritors, but more importantly, it can use their inherited abilities. And what is more difficult than real people is that puppets have no life, so they cannot eliminate the opponent through fatal injuries. Unless the puppet body is destroyed, or the puppet is bound by burying it in the soil, it is difficult to eliminate the puppet's combat power. Once the Black Hat uses the 100 machines to surround himself, the puppets made by 30 inheritors. 30 students, a variety of inherited abilities, and troublesome puppet bodies. As strong as he is, he dare not guarantee that he will win. So he had to fight quickly and kill these puppets at once before their abilities were revealed. Could it be, have you also used that potion? Otherwise, how could you reach this level as a freshman? Or are you a strong man sent by the academy to catch me? How could you lock on to me so quickly? The black-hatted man looked panicked and stomped his feet. My mission is not yet completed. If the mission fails, how can Lord Ghost King give me more blood? Listening to the black-clothed man talking to himself, Qin Shi frowned. What is he mumbling about? The enemy in front of him looked like a patient with some mental disorders. But looking at his face, it looked like it was made up of various organs. Expecting such a person to be normal is itself abnormal. Ghost King. Did he just mention the Ghost King? Who is the Ghost King? The Ghost King Muzin in Demon Slayer. Qin Shi shuddered, and suddenly remembered something that Lin Long had told him after the graduation ceremony. About the terrorist organization, the 100 Demons Group, which is as famous as the Pillars. The 100 Demons Group is called this name because its members are all human ghosts, creatures transformed from humans into ghosts. Their leader is named Mu, who is the descendant of Muzin Kibutsuji in Demon Slayer. Not only is his own strength extremely strong, he also has an almost unsolvable regeneration ability. He can also give his blood to others to turn them into ghosts. People who become ghosts will have their own strength greatly enhanced, and have the ability to heal themselves at high speed and a long life. Strong big ghosts can also develop a kind of ability called blood ghost art, based on the power of blood. According to Lin Long's introduction, because in this world, everyone has a basic inheritance. So often the blood ghost art of the members of the 100 Ghosts is a further strengthening and upgrading of their inherited abilities. Ghost King, mission, blood gift. Could it be, he is a member of the 100 Ghosts, just coming here with the identity of a new student, intending to complete some unspeakable secrets? But why? He is not afraid of the sun. Qin Shi's brain began to think at high speed. Becoming a ghost is not without cost. One is that you are no longer a human, and are extremely obsessed with eating people. The more people you eat, the stronger your blood ghost art and ghost abilities will be. The second is that you are afraid of the sun. Even the Ghost King Muzin will only be destroyed in the sun. Not to mention ordinary ghosts born with the blood gift of Muzin. The sun is their natural enemy. Therefore, many universities do not take too many precautions against the possibility of the 100 ghosts sneaking into the campus. It's nothing, you can't survive under the sun. How can you be an undercover if you are exposed so easily? But at the freshman activities and on the way to the demon domain, we were all under the sun. These activities were participated by everyone, including the man in the black hat. How come nothing happened to him? Isn't he a ghost? No, I know. Figured out the key point. Qin Shi cleared his throat and started shouting. Little ghost of the 100 Ghosts group, do you think we won't find you if you sneak into the academy? Ridiculous, to tell you the truth, your every word and action is under our surveillance. In a while, more strong men will come to the academy, and then you can only surrender. Qin Shi put one hand on his waist and carried his Zanpakuto on his shoulder. He seemed to be in good condition. And your mission, even if you make careful arrangements, you will definitely fail. Our academy's teachers are on their way to destroy your arrangements. The man in black suddenly trembled when he heard Qin Shi's words. You have discovered the formation. How is it possible? How could you find it so quickly? The man in black turned around in a hurry and no longer paid attention to the enemy in front of him. His figure quickly disappeared and fled into the depths of the cemetery. Qin Shi did not chase him. It was not that he did not want to, but his body was also in a very tired state. Although he only opened 3 of the 8 gates of the ninjutsu, and he closed it immediately after using the sword skills. But the damage to his body was still formed. He only felt that his limbs were sore and stiff. The opponent obviously had a backhand, and maybe there were stronger moves that he had not used. Apart from anything else, at least he had not seen the opponent use the powerful blood demon technique in Demon Slayer. If he chased him at this time, he would definitely be killed. Hoo-hoo, little guy, if I didn't have the ability to talk, I really wouldn't be able to deal with you. Qin Shi leaned against a dead tree and closed his eyes to recover his spiritual and physical strength. I don't know how long I can fool around. While recovering his spiritual power, Qin Shi thought about the battle just now. The superb skill of turning people into puppets, the incomplete 100 machines maneuver, and the mysterious blood ghost technique. This strength is incredible, almost catching up with me. This is a hit on the wall. After a quarter of an hour of rest, his spiritual power and physical strength have recovered a lot. A good man will not suffer a loss in front of him. I, Qin Shi, will pat my butt and leave. He stood up and walked out of the cemetery. 10 minutes later. I remember that I didn't walk long when I came in. Qin Shi walked past one tombstone after another, and felt more and more strange. I have walked for so long, why haven't I reached the exit yet? He felt strange and looked around. Not far away, there was a dead tree broken into 2 pieces. The cross-section of the dead tree was black, as if it had been burned by fire. He remembered this dead wood, which was the wood that he accidentally broke when he was fighting with the puppet Annie. What's going on? After turning around for a long time, you're back. Qin-shi was shocked. Could it be that I'm stuck in a wall? Is this the characteristic of the graveyard terrain that prevents players from getting out? I can't even run away. Looking at the familiar environment in front of him, Qin-shi couldn't help but get a headache. How about a earth escape? Earth dragon hide, get into the mud and walk with your eyes closed, and see if you can escape by chance. Just when he thought about it and couldn't find a better way, an old man's voice suddenly sounded in the sky. Gulala, my lovely students, are you having fun in the forest? Closing curly bracket. The voice was clearly audible to everyone. This is the full map broadcast. I'm going to interrupt your happy game temporarily because something unexpected happened. Closing curly bracket. According to the intelligence department of the academy, a member of the 100 Ghosts has infiltrated the freshman group and also participated in this survival trial. Closing curly bracket. The 100 Ghosts is a well-known dark organization. You only need to know that the members there are very dangerous. Closing curly bracket. And they all like to eat people. Closing curly bracket. At present, we do not know the appearance and specific information of this intruder. Closing curly bracket. However, according to other intelligence, this member of the 100 Ghosts disguised as a freshman has taken a large amount of inheritance enhancement potion. Closing curly bracket. This potion can greatly increase the inheritance level in a short period of time. The disadvantage is that the upper limit will be locked, and you will never be able to break through the 15th level in this lifetime. Closing curly bracket. Especially the 100 Ghosts members have powerful self-healing abilities and blood ghost arts that enhance inheritance abilities. Closing curly bracket. So according to the teacher's judgment, the strength of this intruder is close to that of a 2-star demon hunter. Closing curly bracket. Once a student discovers this intruder, it is recommended to escape directly without fighting. Closing curly bracket. However, if a student can kill this intruder and teleport him to the elimination zone where our teacher is waiting, we will allow the student to enter the treasure pavilion and select a legendary skill scroll or treasure. Closing curly bracket. Please hold on for another half an hour. After half an hour, the teachers will take advantage of the opportunity of the forest changing from night to day to enter the forest to capture the intruder. Closing curly bracket. Finally, I wish you good results, Eula Lala. Closing curly bracket. The principal's full map broadcast verified Qin-shi's guess. There really are people from the 100 Ghosts group coming in, and they are so strong, it turns out that they took medicine. Tisk tisk. When in Linhai City, the father and daughter of the Su family also took the enhancement potion given by the Pillar organization. I didn't expect that the 100 Ghosts group also had similar drugs. Is it a coincidence? However, compared to these trivial matters, there are more important things in the broadcast for him to pay attention to. Treasure Pavilion, legendary skill scrolls or treasures. Qin-shi immediately stood up from his squatting position, and rubbed his hand that had been pressed to the ground, ready to perform Earth Escape, on his body. His current strongest lightning escape, Chidori, is only an epic skill. Legendary level, skills and treasures higher than epic level. Just thinking about it makes him excited. People die for money. No, for the safety and health of other students, for the safety and peace of the academy. He comforted himself righteously. If I, Qin-shi, don't go to hell, who will? The man in black, right. He. I, Qin-shi, am here. Legendary skills treasures I, Qin-shi, am here. During the time of being trapped in the ghost wall, he has completely rested, and his spiritual power and physical strength have returned to the peak. Although the man in black disappeared, he disappeared in the huge tomb terrain. But Qin-shi was not worried about not being able to find him. I have the Eye of Inheritance, little guy, can you hide where? He clicked on the light spot on the small map, and the arrow indicating the direction of the Eye of Inheritance appeared again. Qin-shi followed the arrow forward, step by step into the cemetery terrain. There are more and more tombstones. This man in black, who is obviously a puppet master's inheritance, why does he like to stay in the cemetery? Qin-shi muttered, and his steps did not stop. 15 minutes later, he finally saw the traces of the enemy in a dead forest. However, compared with the looming figure of the man in black, there was a huge thing that shocked Qin Shi even more. Is this a grave? In the dead forest, there was a huge raised grave. The grave was round, but as high as a 5-story building, which was particularly conspicuous in the dead forest. There was a stone tablet in front, and there was no name on the stone tablet. This is a blank tablet. Good guy, such a big tomb, won't it bury monsters? Quote. Qin Shi looked at the huge tomb from a distance, and suddenly found that there were strange blue flame runes around the tomb. Is this a formation? Qin Shi stared at the runes that lit up around the tomb, and found that there was a shadow on each rune. The shadow flickered, and it was clearly a human figure. Qin Shi was surprised, because he noticed that there was a shadow that looked familiar to him. It was the puppet he had fought against on the periphery of the tomb, the girl in the yellow school uniform inherited by Annie. The figures on the runes all looked painful, and they tried desperately to break free from the shackles of the blue flames, but they couldn't escape. This ritual looks evil at first glance. Qin Shi's face was solemn. Are those shadows the souls of the freshmen? Quote, I said that after being eliminated, the whole body of the students will turn into light spots and disappear, but their bodies were made into puppets by the men in black. So this is the incomplete death prompted by the system. Although the body is dead, the soul is forcibly retained, so it is not considered complete death and cannot be eliminated. Could it be that there is something horrible in that tomb that needs to use the souls of these students as sacrifices? The more Qin Shi thought about it, the more frightened he became. No matter what is hidden in that tomb, he can't let it out. Otherwise, it must be something he can't deal with. Chapter 91. Just when Qin Shi hid behind a tombstone and planned to continue to observe secretly, a chill made his body cold. The 3 Magatama Sharingan opened instantly. Under his high dynamic vision, ice spikes extended from the ground and stabbed at him. Instant body technique. Qin Shi exerted force on his feet and jumped away from the spot in an instant, avoiding the attacking ice spikes. He turned his head to look. Under the scattered shadows of the trees, there was a short blue school uniform student with silver hair, green eyes, and a knife in his hand. His eyes were dull, and his whole body was like a puppet pulled by silk threads. Is this the S-level inheritor whose light spot turned into darkness? Qin Shi looked at the puppet standing not far away. The puppet was made by Scorpion, who wore a black hat and black clothes, using human corpses. Qin Shi knew the owner of this body. Shi Lang, one of the students in the supernova class. The inheritance is S-level, the captain of the 10th division of the Soul Requiem in the Death God plane, Hitsugaya Tushiro. Hitsugaya Tushiro is the youngest of the current captains of the Death God, and has the title of Genius Boy. With a cool iceberg expression and a cool ice-type Zanpakuto. Xiaobai, Hitsugaya Tushiro, is the most popular on the Death God popularity list. Hehe, masked boy, there is a road to heaven but you don't take it, there is no door to hell but you break in. The black-clothed scorpion walked out of the dead forest. You see, this is my most outstanding work at present, a human puppet made by an S-level inheritor. He laughed sinisterly twice. But it will be outdated soon, because I will use your blood and flesh to make a new puppet later. With your strength and potential, I believe you will be better than any of my previous works of art. He looked at Qin Shi as if he was looking at a perfect object. Daydreaming is good. Qin Shi took out the Asachi and quickly formed seals with both hands. Unfortunately, I have killed too many S-level freshmen before. Besides, the one in front of me is just an S-level inheritor puppet without self-awareness and controlled by others. As soon as he finished speaking, smoke floated up with a bang. 3 Qin Shi appeared in the same place. Each of them held an Asachi sword and slashed at the short silver-haired puppet from the top, left and right. Ninjutsu, 3-day moon dance. The man in black waved his hands quickly. At the moment when Qin Shi's sword was about to fall, he pulled the short silver-haired puppet back. This puppet can't deal with you at the moment, but if I add my power. He roared, and the blood vessels in his arms suddenly swelled, clearly visible under the skin. The blood directly broke through the blood vessels and flowed along his arms to his fingertips. Blood Demon Art, a method to strengthen puppets. The originally transparent spiritual power threads now all turned red, and connected to the limbs and head of the short silver-haired puppet along the fingertips of the man in black. The puppet, which had just looked dazed, had red eyes in an instant. A strong breath emanated from the puppet. Oh my god, this puppet is upgrading. Feeling the fluctuation of spiritual power on the puppet, Qin did not dare to delay any longer. He was about to chase after it with a light beating. But before he stepped forward, he heard the short silver-haired puppet's mouth opening and closing. Sit upright in the double sky, Hiranmaru. Cold air poured out from the short silver-haired puppet, covering the dead trees and stone tablets around with a layer of light frost. The zanpakuto in the puppet's hand also changed. Behind the handle, there was a long chain, like a dragon's tail. This is Shikai. He can actually Shikai. Feeling the other party's changes, Qin was completely unsettled. Shikai is the first stage of the zanpakuto's release form in Bleach. People who have not seen Bleach can understand it as a transformation, like Sailor Moon. After Shikai, the zanpakuto will change, have different abilities, and the ability of the sword will be more thoroughly exerted. Although Shikai is still an incomplete exertion of the ability of the zanpakuto. But compared to before the release, the user's strength will be greatly improved. And Shikai is not something that can be done easily, and it requires a lot of practice. Even for the S-level inheritors of the world of Bleach, Shikai is not an early skill. It requires the inherited ability to be developed to a certain extent before it can be used. But in front of Qin, an S-level freshman, who is still a puppet, used the Shikai of Hiranmaru, the name of the puppet Zanpakuto. Hehe, my blood ghost technique can increase the power and inheritance level of the puppet in a short time. So, masked boy, you'd better surrender and become the material for my new puppet. Man in Black's hands flew quickly. Under the control of the red silk thread, the short silver-haired puppet danced his transformed Zanpakuto. Bang, bang, bang. Ice bombs suddenly fell from the sky, hitting Qin like a bird swooping down. This is one of the skills of Hiranmaru after the Shikai, the bird ice pillar. As the name suggests, it sends out a series of ice bombs, attacking the enemy like a flock of birds. Qin clone disappeared, and the three Magatama Sharingan quickly rotated in his eye sockets. Under the strong dynamic vision of the Sharingan, the high-speed bird-shaped ice bombs were like slowly floating balloons in his eyes. Qin stabbed several times with the shallow sword in his hand, accurately smashing all the ice bombs that attacked. Shikai, then I'll try it. What is the power of the captain of the 10th Division in Bleach? He groaned, holding the shallow sword and fighting with the short silver-haired puppet's Hiranmaru. Bang bang bang. The man and the puppet confronted each other for more than 10 moves in a short period of time. With the bonus of the first release, the silver-haired short puppet's sword skills and attack speed have been greatly improved. It's on par with me with sword skills at level 2. In that case, I'll raise you to level 3. Qin took a step back, holding a card in his left hand, on which was a white long sword. Claw card, sword. When using this card, the user's sword skills will be temporarily raised to level 3, great success level. However, just when he was about to throw the card and use the flying sword, he caught a glimpse of 6 light spots on the ground. As this, the 6-clothed ice cleaning formation. Qin was suddenly shocked. The 6-clothed ice cleaning formation sets 6 ice nodes on the ground to form a formation, freezing the opponent in it. This is a powerful control skill. However, at the moment when the ice formation was formed, Qin's body sank suddenly and hid in the mud. Earth escape, the art of hiding the earth dragon. The sudden disappearance of the target made the 6-clothes ice formation lose its effect. Where did this kid go again? In front of the demon tomb, the black-clothed man who controlled the puppet began to get annoyed. However, just as he opened his eyes wide to look for Qin's figure, his body sank suddenly, as if he was trapped in a swamp. Earth escape, the art of beheading in the heart. Qin wanted to use this trick to completely restrain the controller behind the puppet. Once his hands could not be used, the black-clothed man's puppet technique would be useless. Holding the feet of the man in black with both hands, Qin's heart sank. This touch didn't feel like touching the skin at all. It felt like it was on a hard piece of wood. Just when Qin used the decapitation technique in his mind and wanted to pull the man in black into the soil, the other party smiled strangely, and the black hat was suddenly pulled off. The spliced mouth opened wide, and a steel pipe stretched out. Bang bang bang. Flames spurted out of the steel pipe, and bullets like round beads sprayed out and shot into the soil where Qin was hiding. It was like a machine gun. The round beads were not powerful, but they had enough penetration, and the soil was blasted everywhere. Qin in the soil was shot head-on, and suddenly there was a sound of collision, and he turned into a puff of green smoke. Ah, it's really dangerous. Not far away, Qin jumped out of the soil. When using the Earth Dragon hiding technique to sneak into the ground, Qin also used the Shadow Clone technique. It was his clone who sneaked in the mud and came to the feet of the man in black to use the heart beheading technique. Fortunately, I was cautious and tried it with the clone. Qin looked straight at the man in black in the distance. Now I understand. This member of the 100 Demons group, like Scorpion in the Naruto anime, transformed his body into a puppet. Except for some key organs such as the heart and brain, his body is probably all puppetized. And it is a puppet like a mechanism. Mechanical puppets are made of unique wood, gold and stone using specific techniques. Unique mechanisms are set up in various parts of the body. For example, Scorpion in Naruto. His Filiu Amber puppet can extend a steel scorpion tail from the back, which can be extended freely, and will be poisoned if it is slightly scratched. It can also fire ultra-high-density poison needles and stingers from its mouth. It can be said that his whole body is full of traps and weapons. This can be explained. He is a member of the 100 Demons group and has the blood of Muzan, but he is not afraid of the sun. The members of the 100 Demons group have all received blood from the inheritor of Muzan. Although their abilities have been greatly enhanced, they have a fatal flaw that they cannot be exposed to the sun. The man in black in front of him cleverly avoided this flaw with his own abilities. Qin nodded slightly. Except for a few human organs covered by his black clothes and black hat, the rest of his body parts have been machined, so they are not afraid of the sun's burning. But he can hide, but not fight. Even if only a few human organs are at risk of being exposed to the sun, he will be timid. So, he will hide in the tomb terrain, where the light is dim and does not affect his use of blood ghost art. Waiting for the rabbit, he will sneak attack the students who accidentally enter the tomb. But what exactly is he going to do? Qin moved his eyes to the huge tomb deep in the dead woods. That tomb is his goal. What is in it? The battle situation did not allow him to think further. The short silver-haired puppet raised his knife again and killed him. Qin stood still, sheathed his knife, and quickly formed seals with his hands. Zi Yin Shu Chou Mao Yin. Fire style. Phoenix fire technique. Qin continuously spit out fireballs from his mouth. The fireballs that looked like the fruits of phoenix flew towards the short silver-haired puppet. There were many wooden components on the puppet's body, and the fire style could cause considerable damage to it. But before the fireball touched the puppet's body, it was hit by a circular ice spike. Ice Dragon Tail. Qin looked at the ice spikes released by the puppet's sword. This is one of Hitsugaya Tushairu's Shikai skills, Ice Dragon Tail. Perform a circular freezing /forward, and the direction where the blade passes will become a frozen area. This is a combination of attack and defense. You know quite a few skills. Qin threw a card in his hand. But at least I know a little bit. He looked at the man in black who was waving the spiritual power thread in the distance and concentrating on controlling the puppet. He didn't attack me together with the short puppet, which shows that he can only use puppets or his own organs to fight. You can't do both at the same time. That's understandable. After all, even Scorpion, who is as strong as the Akatsuki organization, didn't say that his main body and puppet can fight at the same time. As the card disappeared, a white flying sword was suspended in the air. Then I have an idea. Qin had a thought, and the flying sword immediately flew up and stabbed at the head of the silver-haired short puppet. Flying sword. You, the masked man, have a variety of offensive methods. And look at this flying sword is very sharp. If it pierces the puppet, I'm afraid its head will fall off. The man in black laughed coldly. But my S-level inheritance puppet is not so easy to defeat. He waved the silk thread with both hands, and the short silver-haired puppet quickly waved the ice wheel pill with his movements. First release skill, Edge Wall Ice Array. Like a flower blooming, a thick ice wall formed in front of the puppet. With this ice wall, your flying sword can't pierce my puppet. The man in black laughed. Swoosh. The flying sword flew across the sky, and when it was about to hit the ice wall, it suddenly changed direction. It flew towards the man in black not far away. What? Seeing the flying sword flying towards him, the man in black was stunned at first, and then laughed. Want to sneak attack the puppeteer's operator? Stupid, I am the strongest puppet myself. Quote. His eyes were red, and the blood demon technique was activated again. This time, the object of his strengthening was not the short silver-haired puppet, but himself. Puppetry, thousand hands martial arts. He raised his left arm, and the psychic runes were painted on his arm. As the runes flashed, thousands of mechanical arms emerged from the talisman, like wandering thin snakes. Thousands of mechanical arms danced in the air, grabbing the dodging flying swords. The mechanical hands grabbed the hilt and the sword body, like countless thin snakes entwining the flying sword. Even though the flying sword was very sharp, it was firmly grasped by the mechanical hands and could not move. Hee, in this way, your flying sword is useless. Quote. Just when the man in black was feeling proud, a bright light suddenly flashed. His face changed, and his sense of control over the puppet suddenly disappeared. The man in black slowly turned his head and looked at the short silver-haired puppet not far away. The head and body had been separated and split into two. And his enemy, the masked man, still maintained the posture of drawing a knife. One sword style II death shishijej. This is the sword technique that Qin-shi used just now. With the blessing of the basic swordsmanship at LV3, Shishijej's moves were performed more smoothly and more powerfully by Qin-shi. One sword cuts armor. Even the short silver-haired puppet, who was strong after the initial release, was not his opponent. Qin-shi stood still and swung the zanpakudo in his hand vigorously. Zong. Quote. The silver-white blade of the Asachi suddenly turned pure black. This is what Asachi looks like after adding the LV3 level of armament hockey. Qin-shi raised his sword and pointed it at the man in black in the distance, his tone cold. Do you have more puppets? If not, you will be the next one to die. Everything was in Qin-shi's plan. From the beginning, his flying sword's target was not the short silver-haired puppet, but the controller behind it, the black-clothed man pretending to be a freshman. The LV3 development level of the sword claw card has already been very sharp, cutting gold and breaking stone is no problem. But the enemy is strong, especially with many mechanical means. So Qin-shi does not expect to kill the enemy with one blow. But he wants to use the flying sword to attract the opponent's attention. At the same time, the opponent can only control the puppet or use the puppet mechanism on his body. You can't have both. Use the flying sword to surprise the opponent and force the opponent to use the mechanical technique of his own puppet to counterattack. In this short period of time, the puppet inherited by Hitsugaya Tushiro will fall into a state of no one controlling it. This is his chance to defeat the enemy. When he put the Zanpakuta into the scabbard and then used the Phoenix Fire technique against the enemy, he had already thought of the subsequent response. With his hands on the hilt, he took advantage of the brief opportunity to draw the sword and used his strongest sword technique. The short silver-haired puppet that lost the control of the man in black could not even move, let alone use skills. It became a static target. Qin-shi cut the puppet in two with one sword. The man in black finally showed a trace of fear. It's not that he has no puppets. Under his black robe, there is a scroll with spiritualism. The scroll contains an attacking puppet, crow, a capturing puppet, black ant, and a defensive puppet, salamander. But these are just ordinary puppets, and even the regeneration core technology that improves the puppet's control ability has not been used. His strongest death puppet has been destroyed by the masked man on the opposite side. The remaining ordinary puppets are just cannon fodder. I didn't expect. You are so strong. He is more impatient than fear. Before, when he was fooled by Qin-shi and ran to the grave to guard the evil formation, he also heard Principal Bai's full map broadcast. In half an hour, a strong man from the academy will enter the forest dungeon and capture him. Hearing this news, he understood it all at once. The masked man, Qin-shi, just now said that he was a strong man from the academy and had discovered his secret arrangement. He was just fooling himself and inducing him to come back to protect the formation. I thought it was just my carelessness at first, and if I used all my strength, I could easily kill the masked man. But at this moment, in the second round of the two people in front of the grave, his puppet was still destroyed by the masked man. There is less than half an hour left. If I delay any longer, the adult's plan will not be completed. He gritted his teeth. I have to do it myself, and I have to fight quickly. I actually have to use my own puppet, Fei Luwu, what a hassle. Since he awakened his inheritance, no enemy has been able to survive 3 rounds with his puppet. Not to mention, he has to use his own puppet, Fei Luwu. In terms of the capital for fighting, he still has it. But no matter how powerful his own puppet is, after all, it is a direct confrontation with the enemy and there is a risk of death. But there is no other way now. The black hat turned into a wooden mask, wrapping his head tightly. A steel scorpion tail emerged from the black clothes, with green mucus dripping from the tip of the tail. This is the venom of the salamander, and a little touch will cause poisoning and death. Fei Luwu is his life-saving puppet, which can be regarded as the strongest among all his puppets, with various mechanical techniques and weapons emerging one after another. The combat power is only stronger than the short silver-haired death puppet. Bang! A cloud of smoke rose from under Qin Shi's feet. Want to escape? The man in black was about to chase him and quickly resolve the battle. But he found that Qin Shi's figure appeared again from the smoke. Escape? There is no word for escape in my dictionary. At most, I can only retreat on my own initiative. His left hand was clasped at the wrist of his right hand. The right hand flashed with lightning, and 1,000 birds were singing. This is his epic skill, Thunder Release, Chidori. The next attack will determine the winner. Qin Shi's face was grim. After upgrading to LV3, he can already release Chidori without making hand seals. And the power is stronger than before, and he can even add Chidori to the sword, which has the prototype of Chidori-style ninjutsu. Bending his body, Qin Shi assumed a running posture. 3 black magatamas rotated faster in his eye sockets. Cut. His body disappeared from the spot in an instant, and the high-speed movement made him look like a residual image. They actually attacked in a straight line. How stupid. The man in black stretched out his left hand, and his palm suddenly opened, and a copper tube stretched out. On the copper tube, there was a scroll with runes drawn on it. Puppet scroll technique, corrosion flow. A torrent gushed out of the copper tube, penetrating a stone tablet and instantly dissolving it. This is highly corrosive acid. The man in black grinned and waved the sprayed acid left and right. The acid flowed very fast, like a sharp water knife, slashing towards the running Qin Shi. Instant body technique. Qin Shi's speed increased suddenly, and with the addition of the Sharingan, he avoided the acid water knife every time. In a moment, he had rushed in front of the man in black. Hee, you think you won. Quote, the man in black grinned, thrust his right hand forward, and opened his palm, as if he was going to grab the enemy. Only then did Qin Shi see clearly that there was actually a small scroll in the other party's palm. Puppet scroll technique, poisonous sword. The scroll disappeared, and several huge blades suddenly appeared in the palm of the man in black, with venom coating the blades. The blade was huge, and before Qin Shi's Chidori touched the corner of the other party's clothes, the huge blade had already pierced into his body. Haha, an inch longer, an inch stronger. The man in black licked his lips. If you want to blame someone, blame your stab for being too short, kid, I won. However, before he had time to be happy, Qin Shi, who was stabbed in the body, turned into green smoke with a sound. This is a clone. Quote, the black-clothed man's eyes suddenly widened. When he suddenly realized that the other party had used a smoke bomb before using Chidori. At that time, he thought Qin Shi was just using the smoke bomb to hide the direction of his attack. Now it seems that he had completely guessed the other party wrong. A burst of pain came suddenly. The black-clothed man looked at his chest in disbelief. A long knife pierced his chest, and the blade flashed with lightning, making him feel painful and numb all over. That was the location of his heart, and it was also the place where he installed the core part of the puppet mechanism, the regeneration core. Qin Shi's voice came from behind the black-clothed man. The winner has been decided. Sorry, puppeteer. Your life, I accept it. Just as the man in black thought. Before, Qin Shi used the shadow clone technique under the smoke bomb and created a clone. Then the main body used the ghost skill, bend light, to make himself invisible. While the clone attracted the attention of the man in black, the main body sneaked behind him. Just when the man in black thought he had won, the invisible Chin-shi raised his zanpakudo, with the power of Chidori, and stabbed it at the enemy's heart. After a successful strike, Chin-shi immediately drew out his zanpakudo and then stepped back a few steps. Some of the electric light was still raging in the chest of the man in black, continuing to expand the injury. The man in black covered his chest, staggered forward a few steps, and leaned against a stone tablet. Chin-shi looked at his enemy coldly, and had no intention of going up to finish him off. In addition to being a puppet master, Scorpion in Naruto also has an extraordinary ability. That is to use poison. This can be seen from the various poisonous weapons on the puppet of the man in black, Fei Liuhu. He didn't want the opponent to use vicious toxin to counterattack him when he went up to finish off the enemy. This is also the reason why he used Chidori to bless his Zanpakuda instead of directly killing him with his hand knife when he launched a sneak attack. He didn't want to touch the guy with a poisonous body with his flesh. HMPH. The breath of the man in black became chaotic and weak. He did have a similar method of self-detonation and poisoning, but the enemy in front of him was too cautious, and he had no chance to die together. The scene in front of him began to blur. In the blur, he instinctively recalled his past. He was born with deformed limbs and was abandoned by his parents in a third-tier city on the border. It was a crime city that was free from the law and was called the City of Crime. There were hooligans everywhere, and there were also criminals who committed murder and fled here. Because it is close to the demon realm, gray fog will penetrate from time to time, and several demon beasts will cause chaos. Here, chaos and violence are the mainstream. Because of the dramatic effect of his deformed limbs, the head of a circus rescued him and let him play the dwarf puppet to entertain the audience. This circus is the property of a local evil force. The head is also a gangster with a violent temper. He was not good to him. He was beaten and scolded since he was a child, never let him have enough food, and all the money he earned was taken away by him. He had no name, and was ordered around by everyone, and laughed at him as a dwarf. In a few years, the evil force behind the circus was defeated by another force, and the circus could not escape the devil's hand. And he was also brutally beaten by the opponent's gangsters, with knife marks and scars all over his face and body. When he was dying, the head of the 100 ghosts came to this city to select new members worthy of his blood. The leader discovered his S-level inheritance potential, and after killing all the hooligans who bullied him, he gave him his own Ghost King blood. You have a strong power of inheritance, and your talent is also top-notch. Unfortunately, you are too seriously injured. Even if you use the regenerative power of my blood and your own puppetry to save your life, your inheritance will never break through level 15 in your lifetime. Since you can bear my blood, you are my descendant. You have no name, so from now on, you will be named after your inheritance, and you will be called Scorpion. The lack of power is the source of your sorrow in this world. You see, this world is so dark and dirty. Humans are a group that bears sins. So we turned into ghosts, representing all those who are hurt, bullied, and wronged, and avenge the human group. Scorpion, if you are willing, come with me. Together, let's give this world pain. The pain in his chest awakened the black-clothed man, Scorpion, from his memories. His black hat and Fei Liuhu's face shield fell off, revealing a head of short red hair. Chin-shi was shocked. Only at such a close distance could he see the true appearance of the Scorpion. The face was full of scars, but it was still visible. This was the face of a child. Huff! The black-clothed Scorpion gasped heavily. He turned his head to look at the grave not far away, with a trace of anxiety in his eyes. Not enough. If we don't hurry up, the captain's plan will fail. He was clearly on the verge of death, but he was not worried about his own life at all. Why can't it hatch yet? Is it because the soul sacrifice is not enough? Where is the soul? Where? That's right. Fei Liuhu's steel scorpion tail trembled. Raised it stabbed fiercely at his already bloody chest. Chin-shi opened his eyes wide. The other party actually mutilated himself. Did he think he was not dying fast enough? Hiss. But before Scorpion finished his action, he had a black, thin iron rod with runes engraved on it in his hand. Chin-shi looked at the iron rod, and suddenly had a sense of foreboding in his heart. He immediately made a judgment that no matter what the man wanted to do, he must stop it immediately. But just as he was about to step forward, the mouth of the scorpion puppet suddenly opened. A ball of purple poisonous mist was released, wrapping his whole body. In just a moment, his face began to rot. Qin Shi immediately stopped and took a few steps back, away from the poisonous mist. Scorpion looked at Qin Shi not far away, with his mouth grinning, as if looking at a dead person. "Except for the captain, this world is full of bad people," he said viciously, his eyes festering under the corrosion of the poisonous mist. Who, keep struggling. Even if you can kill me, you won't live long. The captain's plan will surely come true. I can give up everything for him. In the near future, all humans will die." After saying that, he raised the iron rod and stabbed it into his temple. Blood flowed, and his life was immediately cut off. The poisonous mist was still working, gradually corroding his body. Although the powerful enemy in front of him died. But his strange actions and words before his death made Qin Shi feel uneasy. What on earth does this guy want to do? Could it be? He turned his head and looked at the huge grave mound behind him. The grave that had been silent before began to tremble slightly. A ball of fierce blue flames flew around the grave mound, and the soul trapped inside was in the shape of Scorpion. He actually sacrificed himself. Qin Shi was stunned. If he was killed by him, he would only be eliminated. But this kind of soul sacrifice will cause the soul to suffer great pain and eventually dissipate. With the sacrifice of the scorpion soul, the entire tomb began to shake violently, and cracks appeared one after another. What is in this? Under Qin Shi's gaze, a dark big hand stretched out of the huge tomb mound. Oh oh oh, like a ghost from hell. The terrifying scream echoed throughout the tomb. This is. Qin Shi looked at the cracking grave mound in shock. First, a black clawed arm that looked like burnt rocks stretched out of the grave mound. Then, there were two goat-like horns and a hideous black head with a big pocket. Then, there was a body made of black gravel. Even more bizarrely, the monster's interior was burning with a fire like magma. A demon core with 3 shining stars was burning in its chest. Oh oh oh, the roar made Qin Shi feel a tingling pain. This tingling sensation did not directly affect the body, but the spirit. Is this a shadow demon? A sense of fear from the soul surged up. This sense of oppression that I can't beat. Qin Shi stared at the monster that struggled out of the grave mound in front of him, as if it came from hell. The monster's arrival was not slow, but it crawled out of the mound quickly. Qin Shi didn't have time to escape at the first moment. But he was not unprepared. A little bit of light hid his figure. When the monster appeared, he quickly performed the 26th way of binding, curved light. However, just when he thought he could leave safely, suddenly found that the monster slowly turned around, and the lava-like eyes looked straight at him. Obviously he was invisible, but the other party seemed to be able to see him. Warning: feel the hostility of the monster. Eye of Inheritance is activated. Monster name: Shadow Demon Nevermore. Monster introduction. From the Dota 2 world, it is a mid-level monster belonging to the Nightmare Legion. It is a ghost monster that can absorb the souls of creatures around its body and digest the memories in the souls. The agile attribute and soul-like body give him superb movement speed. The more souls he harvests, the stronger the shadow demon is. Anyone whose soul is swallowed by him will not even be able to die. Monster comments. No one can see through the layers of evil under its dark aura. If you want to know, mortal, dedicate your soul to the shadow demon, or wait for the shadow demon to harvest. Monster level: 3 stars. Run. The hint of the Eye of Inheritance just appeared in the corner of his eyes, and Qin Shi did not hesitate at all. Instant body technique. Spiritual power rushed into his feet frantically, and Qin Shi ran away from the shadow demon Navanmore. The monster, which was 10 meters tall, looked in the direction where Qin Shi was running, and a playful smile appeared on the corner of its ferocious mouth. Stupid human, do you think you can escape my pursuit? I can smell the fragrance of your soul, which is a pleasant smell. No matter how fast you run, you can't escape my perception range. The weird voice sounded directly in Qin Shi's mind, causing another sharp pain in his head. So it was directly sensing the soul. No wonder the invisibility effect of Ku Guang couldn't hide it. After figuring out the reason, Qin Shi directly cancelled the bend light, and just used the acceleration effect of the instant body technique to escape quickly. On the way to escape, Qin Shi accidentally discovered a special plant in the tomb terrain. This is a plant he has never seen before. It is all black, has a special mouthpart, and is a mutant plant that is devouring a tombstone. Tombstone devourer. Qin Shi ran while looking at the mutant plant in the distance. This is a special plant in Plants vs. Zombies that can devour tombstones and plant other special plants on the ground. It is not very powerful, but very rare. Qin Shi made a seal with his hands, and a stream of flames like impatience fruit spurted out of his mouth. And threw out a few shurikens. The shurikens mixed with impatience fire flew towards the tombstone devourer, cutting and burning it. There was only a slight pause. Oh oh oh. The roar of the shadow demon sounded again from behind him. A dark energy rose from the ground and appeared right under Qin Shi's feet. Sharingan. With the 3 Magatama Sharingan, Qin Shi accurately grasped the attack direction of the dark energy and dodged the attack of the skill at the critical moment. This is one of the skills of Shadow Demon Nevermore, Destroy Shadow. It can release a dark energy to the area directly in front of it, causing damage to enemies in the area. Host. This dark energy directly affects the soul, please pay attention to avoid it. Once hit once, you will fall into a state of soul decay. The note of the Eye of Inheritance appeared in the corner of his eyes, and Qin Shi looked back. Even though he had run thousands of meters, Shadow Demon Nevermore was still 30 meters behind him. The man and the monster kept a fixed distance, as if Qin Shi had not moved just now. This monster is so fast, even if I use the teleportation technique, I'm afraid I can't escape. And the distance is so good, is it trying to play a cat and mouse game? How dare it look down on me? Can I, Qin Shi, tolerate this? Can my system tolerate it? He held the knife in both hands and turned to face the monster. Since I can't escape, let's fight. It doesn't matter if it's a 3-star monster. One day, with my talent and hard work, I can even kill gods. But the moment he looked at the shadow demon, his heroic spirit immediately dissipated. The fear from the soul surged up again. Shadow Demon Nevermore has a negative aura skill called Demon King's Arrival. Creatures within 100 meters of it will be negatively affected by the aura, produce strong fear, and reduce the desire to fight. Reducing armor in the game will become fear in real life. He looked at the monster in front of him coldly. As a Dota 2 player in his previous life, Qin Shi had some understanding of Shadow Demon. But this kind of strong aura also wants to interfere with my fighting spirit. Qin Shi's fear surged in his heart for a short time, and was suppressed by the power of a stronger fighting spirit. This is the power of Six Paths Obito's inheritance. After all, in the eyes of Six Paths Obito, most of the monsters here are garbage. Although Qin Shi's inheritance level is not developed enough, he can only use a little bit of Six Paths Obito's strength. But under the effect of the supreme inheritance, he is still immune to the pressure of most monsters. And, do you think I'm just running away? Qin Shi stood still with both feet and formed a seal with one hand. Fire escape detonation flame array. Detonation talismans suddenly emerged from the surrounding graves and pressed towards Shadow Demon's body. In order to deal with you, I spent a lot of money, a full 100 detonation talismans. Qin Shi sneered. Explode. Bang, bang, bang. 100 detonating talismans exploded at the same time. At the center of the explosion, the shadow demon let out a heart-pounding cry. Thick smoke billowed. The smoke dissipated. The shadow demon appeared again. Qin Shi stared at the enemy, not surprised. With the ghost attribute, it can resist many damage skills. He didn't expect to kill a 3-star monster with one move. But the 100 detonating tags were not without effect. The shadow demon walked out of the thick smoke with a ferocious look on his face. The hell rock armor on his body was mostly damaged at this moment. These 100 detonating tags reduced its armor value. Strike while the iron is hot. Qin Shi put his hand on the hilt and exerted force with his fingers. A black breath overflowed from his fingertips, wrapping around the Zanpakuto, forming a pure black blade. This is the armament hockey of LV3 development level. Even natural ability users can cause damage. A mere ghost monster, I don't think you can block my armament hockey. Qin Shi lowered his head, bent over, and kicked his feet back. One sword style I Death Lion Song Song. With a roar, the sword was unsheathed. Qin Shi disappeared from the spot, and when he reappeared, he had come to the front of the shadow demon. He maintained the posture of swinging the sword. A terrifying knife mark appeared on the body of the shadow demon. Oh, oh, oh. The shadow demon howled again. This time, the sword skill not only cut through its hell rock armor, but also caused a lot of damage to its internal flame body. The look it gave Qin-Shi finally changed from teasing to cautious. The shadow demon had never expected that the tiny human in front of him could actually hurt him. With the armed color domineering and the Zanpakuto, I don't believe it won't be enough to give you a hard time. Qin-Shi swung the sword and sheathed it again. The Zanpakuto is the demon-killing sword of the captains of the Soul Society in the world of death, which has a high amount of damage to demons. These two demon-killing abilities are also the reason why Qin-Shi dared to stop and fight with the 3-star monster. But even with such a sword skill, it only seriously injured it, but failed to kill it. His 5 fingers grasped the handle of the sword again, his body sank, and he took a sword-drawing posture. Since one eye slash is not enough, let's do it again. His hands were already shaking. Aikidori II Death Shishijej, such a powerful killing move consumes physical strength, mental and spiritual energy. Even as strong as he is, he can only use it twice more at most. However, just when he was about to strike again, the dark energy like a shadow burst out from in front of him again. As a last resort, he continued to retreat with the knife. Tiny human, do you think you can defeat me by hurting me? The roar of the shadow demon sounded directly in Qin-Shi's mind. It raised its lava-like big hand, and between its palms was a person's soul. This is the soul of the man in black, Scorpion. The shadow demon opened his mouth wide and swallowed the soul of Scorpion in one gulp. The chewing sound came, like the sound of bones being chewed. Qin-Shi could even faintly hear the screams of the man in black, Scorpion. But what surprised him even more was the horrible wound that had been across the chest of the shadow demon, which gave him hope of victory. Healing quickly. In just 1 second, the shadow demon's injuries completely disappeared. It groaned with satisfaction and looked at Qin-Shi again, with strong hatred in its eyes. Boy, I just wanted to eat you directly. But you completely angered me. After I catch you, don't worry, I won't let you die easily. I will continue to torture you and let you know how heavy the price is to provoke a shadow demon. Qin-Shi frowned, although he didn't care about the other party's threats. But the shadow demon's ability to devour souls to recover from injuries gave Qin-Shi a headache. I remember it seemed, there were still more than 30 souls in its body. Although it is not as powerful as the black-clothed man's, Scorpion, poisonous soul, it is enough for it to recover 10 times. Oh my god, it can attack souls, has strong power, fast speed, resistance and armor, and can heal itself at high speed. How can I fight it? The knife disappeared from his hand and was put into the system's storage space. If plan A doesn't work, then plan B. Qin-Shi quickly formed seals with both hands. Human, you have no tricks. Then die. The shadow demon roared, and lava raised his hands. Kill him for me, destroy shadow chase soul. Several dark energies rose from the ground. In each dark energy, there was a phantom, which was the soul and resentful spirit collected by the shadow demon. Under the effect of the Sharingan, Qin-Shi dodged quickly to avoid being affected by the dark energy. But the dark energy that had emptied the skill turned back like a ghost. It chased Qin-Shi like a ghost. Oh my god, this skill also has a target lock. Qin-Shi pressed his hands hard on the ground. Earth Escape Earth Dragon Hidden Technique. At the critical moment, his body sank suddenly and hid in the mud, avoiding the destruction of the shadow's attack. Want to escape? The shadow demon laughed grimly. Your soul has been marked by me, let's see where you can escape to. Qin-Shi ran wildly in the mud. The shadow demon ran wildly on the ground. As a demon beast, it was awakened from the grave. But this was just a container for the shadow demon to be hatched, summoned by the black-clothed scorpion using the psychic technique. It itself does not have the ability to travel through the mud. Let's see how long you can hold on. Relying on soul perception, the shadow demon followed Qin-Shi closely. But in a trance, its perception was lost all of a sudden. Why, what's going on? The shadow demon stopped where it was, and it carefully sensed Qin-Shi's soul fluctuations again. Finally, it felt it, but the fluctuations were very weak. It means that the other party suddenly distanced itself from it. The shadow demon looked around and found the grave he had broken out of the ground. As a demon beast that devours the souls of others, its intelligence is not lower than that of humans. He immediately understood that this place was where it landed and where it started chasing that hateful human. But it came back inexplicably. And that cunning human did not come back with it. In the distance, outside the graveyard terrain, Qin Shi emerged from the mud. Haha, walking through the mud, it really won't be affected by the ghost wall. He looked behind him. That was a special terrain with tombstones and graves. As a ghost-type monster, it can also be ghost-walled. Tut-tut, it's really embarrassing for the ghost monster. Qin Shi sat cross-legged on the spot and began to work hard to recover his spiritual power. The direction of his earth escape was not chosen randomly, but ran towards the edge of the graveyard terrain. In this terrain, there is the mysterious power of the ghost wall. Since he couldn't take down the monster head-on, he chose to use the terrain. Originally, I was just taking a gamble, betting that this monster would also be restrained by the ghost wall terrain. I didn't expect the plan to really succeed. Qin Shi was meditating while sensing time. There is about 1 minute left before my plan succeeds. On the other side, in the graveyard terrain, the shadow demon rushed left and right in the graveyard terrain, his eyes full of bloodshot. It clearly felt that it was only a few meters away from that hateful human every time. But after a moment, the perceived distance would be pulled far away again. Every time, it would return to its birthplace, next to that huge grave. It raised its lava claws and roared to the sky, making an unwilling but helpless roar. Why is this happening? Just as the shadow demon roared helplessly, the sky suddenly darkened, and the light began to weaken rapidly. Qin Shi stood up suddenly. Is this the time when day and night alternate? It takes about 5 minutes for day and night to alternate. It seems that I have to wish that shadow demon good luck. Qin Shi smiled and stretched his body on the spot. He clearly remembered that the principal had shouted to the whole channel not long ago. The general idea was that he would enter the dungeon when day and night alternated to capture the members of the 100 Ghosts group. Now, this moment has come. In the tomb terrain, a crack suddenly appeared out of thin air. It was as if the space was torn apart by someone. The first person to come out was a tall handsome guy wearing an eye mask, Teacher Qingzi. He held both ends of the crack with his hands, and a head appeared, looking around outside. Principal, there is a graveyard outside. Please wait for me to observe carefully. Before he finished speaking, a strong force suddenly hit his buttocks and kicked him out. Observe for nothing. There is only so much time. Do you have time to waste? Principal Bai came out cursing, holding a wine pot in one hand and his supreme sword Morokumochi in the other. What caught their eyes were the broken puppets all over the ground. The puppets were of various types, but the way they were destroyed was the same. They were all cut in half. Look at the faces of these puppets. They are all our students, and they are wearing school uniforms of various colors. After a simple inspection of these puppets, Teacher Qingzi looked serious. Someone killed these students and made them into puppets. But strangely, I haven't seen these students in the elimination zone. It seems that the souls of people are immortal. The person who made them into puppets also used special methods to restrict their souls. Such a cruel method. It seems that this inheritor who can make puppets is very likely to be an undercover sent by the 100 Ghosts group. Fortunately, it is in this special forest, otherwise so many students died just to catch this undercover. The price is too high. Principal Bai gulped down a sip of wine. Yes, these students don't have to worry about it for now. The power of the rules of this forest is much stronger than what the 100 Ghosts know. The reason why it can make dead people appear in the elimination zone without any scars is because this forest has unique replication power and space-time ability. When the entrant is fatally injured, the injured person's body can be replicated to resist the fatal injury, and the injured person's body can be restored to the state before the injury with the power of space-time. This replication and space-time recovery ability is not limited to the body, but also includes the soul. With the means of the 100 Ghosts, it is impossible to really take the lives of those students, but although the body will be fine, this kind of pain will remain in their memory after all. The school should make good arrangements and give compensation. After all, they are sacrificing for the college. Teacher Qingzi nodded and then bent down. Principal, there are 2 footprints on the ground, going in the same direction. Let's catch up and see. The principal threw away the empty bottle in his hand and walked dozens of meters away. In just 10 seconds, the two came to a forest of dead trees. In front of a broken tombstone, there was a rotten man with many mechanical parts on his body. Not far from him, there was a short silver-haired puppet that was broken into 2 pieces. Qingzi went up to investigate. Principal, the puppet is Shiro, a freshman in the supernova class, with an S-level heritage, and Hitsugaya Tushiro in Bleach. As for this rotten corpse, it is also Scorpion, a freshman in the supernova class, with an S-level heritage, and Scorpion in Naruto. This is a heritage that can make puppets. As he spoke, he took out an instrument that looked like a needle tube. There was some purple powder in the needle tube. Insert it into the neck of the rotten person and draw a tube of blood. The blood in the syringe suddenly changed when it touched the powder, becoming more turbid and sticky, like black mud. There is the blood of the Ghost King in his blood. That's right, the undercover sent to our school by the 100 Ghosts group is him. The target undercover was found, but Qingji's face was not relaxed. The clues were cut off all of a sudden. The key is it this undercover who can kill more than 30 students and make puppets, and even make a puppet with the body of an S-level student as parts? The strength of this undercover is almost reaching to the 2-star demon hunter. He is stronger than many graduates of our school. How did such a strong man die? Looking at the scene, there are obvious signs of fighting, and the signs are not messy, which means that there was only one person fighting with him. But how is it possible? How can a freshman be able to deal with an enemy with the strength of a 2-star demon hunter? Hearing the doubts of his subordinates, Principal Bai yawned. What's so strange about this? When I was in the freshman trial, I almost reached the level of a 2-star demon hunter, and I could just compete with this undercover. The freshman who can beat him may be a top genius like me, gurgle Lala. The principal laughed. As for the clue, isn't that it? He turned his head and looked at the dead forest. In the dark night, shadows were vague, and a large collapsed mound could be barely seen. Besides, you see, we didn't take the initiative, but the prey came to us. Quote. Principal Bai smiled and raised his sword. Not far away, a tall monster with a shadowy look was running over excitedly. Haha, that masked guy ran away, but 2 more came in. It licked its tongue. Is this to give me a snack? The monster that came was the shadow demon. It was extremely fast and came to Qingji and Principal Bai Qi in an instant. 2 little mice, you are so unfortunate, you are about to become my food. Standing in front of the tiny human, the shadow demon fiddled with its lava-like fingers. Let me think about how to make you more afraid. After all, the more afraid you are, the more delicious you are. Quote. It increasingly activated its Demon King's coming aura, intending to use the effect of the aura to make its prey tremble with fear. However, no matter how it activated the aura, the 2 humans in front of it seemed to have no effect. Looking at the monster in front of him that was as big as a 5-story building, Principal Bai Qi laughed. I thought it was a small thing, but it turned out to be a shadow demon. This thing, I hunted a lot in the demon domain back then. It just so happens that I have a lot of things to ask you. Principal Bai Qi twisted his arm with a grin, making a crackling sound of bones. Don't die easily. Not long. The hell rock armor on the shadow demon's body was completely smashed to pieces. Even the magma that never stopped flowing on its body became as scarce as a small stream of water. In just 1 minute, it was already dying. The shadow demon looked at the short, old, and upper body naked old man in front of him in despair. Such a tiny creature actually has such a terrifying power. It was full of contempt, but when it tried to mark the old man's soul, only then did it find that the other party had the breath of an ancient beast. Although it was obviously huge, its body could not help shaking. This is the fear from the instinct of life when a low-level life faces a high-level life. This fear was not as strong as it was now when it faced the Ghost King who looked like a woman in the demon domain. Big brother, stop stepping on it, my head is about to break. A cry came out of the shadow demon's throat. The demon horns on its head had been broken off by the old man with his bare hands, and the face was splattered with magma by his step. Principal Bai stepped on the flaming head of the shadow demon one by one, and the raging fire seemed to be afraid of him and dodged to the sides. After 2 more steps, he retracted his feet with reluctance. Little demon beast, don't you have the ability to devour souls to recover from injuries? Why don't you eat souls? Do you look down on me? The shadow demon was stunned, thinking of the soul stored in his arm, and spread his palms, and a girl-like soul appeared in his hand. Just as it struggled to move its mouth over and was about to devour the girl's soul in its hand, the old man's face turned cold, and he took off the supreme big knife that he had been carrying behind his back and had never used before, and slashed the shadow demon's arm. Magma splashed. Oh oh oh! The shadow demon screamed in pain. It looked at the old man in front of it, full of resentment. It was the other party who told it to devour souls, but it did it. He actually cut off its arm. But it didn't dare to say what was in its heart. It knew that if it made any unusual moves, with the murderous intent that had already condensed into substance, it would definitely be blasted to ashes. Principal, you should restrain yourself. This shadow demon is one of our few sources of information. Looking at the principal with a cold face, Qingji knew that this was a manifestation of his principal's rage. Ha! Principal Bai Qi exhaled. Little Qingqing, don't worry, I have a plan. But this monster has made my students suffer so much, how can I let it go? Dare to touch my students, I have to make it taste a taste worse than death. Principal Bai Qi said, and punched down again, hitting the shadow demon's chest and causing a mouthful of magma to spew out. Qingji shook his head and stopped persuading his leader. He touched his pocket, and there were still a few fairy beans in it. This is a super strong recovery food from the Dragon Ball world. Just a small one can make you alive and kicking instantly even if you are dying. With the Senzu bean, this shadow demon can't die, so why not? He twisted his neck, and a hint of cruelty appeared on his face. An ice blade pierced directly into the remaining palm of the shadow demon, nailing it to the ground. It hurts so much. The shadow demon almost jumped up in pain. Its body is full of hell magma, and the pain brought to it by the ice is far greater than ordinary attacks. Qingji turned into half an ice man, spitting out wisps of cold air from his mouth. Principal, then we will go together. Let these annoying flies know the price of daring to mess with our academy. A middle-aged man and an old man, both of them were full of anger, and they taught the large monster under their feet a lesson. Ha! Principal Bai clapped his hands. Don't fight anymore. The beans have all been eaten. If you fight again, you will really die. The shadow demon under his feet has been beaten to 1/3 of its original size. Only broken stones are still attached to its body. It is no longer a demon. The principal picked up the shadow demon. I ask you, do you know who killed your puppet master? The shadow demon looked confused and was beaten to the point of not knowing where to go. My leader is asking you a question. Are you deaf? Qingji frowned and threw a few ice spikes directly at him. There was another fierce and piercing pain, and the shadow demon's nose was full of magma. I really don't know. When I came out, my puppet master was already dead. It was his own soul power that was used as a sacrifice to summon me out. You don't know anything. What's the use of you? Principal Bai frowned and murderous intent surged again. The supreme big knife was held horizontally in his left hand, and he was about to cut the shadow demon in two. Slowly, the shadow demon used up all his strength. He struggled desperately. I didn't see who killed him, but I can probably guess. I can definitely guess, it must be him, the masked man. Masked man. Principal Bai listened to the shadow demon's words, and the big knife in his hand drooped slightly. Yes, when I came out, I found that he was the only living person in the whole tomb, and he was standing next to the puppeteer. It must be him who killed the puppeteer. The shadow demon shouted loudly. I marked his location, let me go, I will take you to find him. Qingji and Principal Bai Qi looked at each other. Principal, why don't we go over and take a look? Let's go. I want to see which student is more powerful than me when I was young. Qingji nodded and took the shrunken shadow demon from the principal's hand. I remember you have the skill of telepathy, send me the location you marked through induction. The cold air emanated from his hands, freezing the shadow demon, whose life fire was already weak, even weaker. After receiving the location sent by shadow demon in his mind, Qingji took out a bucket-shaped bottle that was as tall as a person from somewhere. There was also a mark in the shape of a dust on the bottle. This is one of the 6 ninja tools in the Naruto world, the amber purifying bottle. Through the power of the word spirit, it can seal monsters. Little monster, this is a sealing tool. Just now you said your name is Shadow Demon Nevinmore, right? I call you once, you answer once, and then you will enter this bottle. If you answer slowly, hum. Qingji snorted coldly, and cold air burst out of his body. Shadow Demon nodded quickly. Will he be sealed? As long as it can get it away from these two demons, it will go even to hell. After sealing the Shadow Demon in the amber purifying bottle, Qingji waved his hand, and the ninja tool disappeared into his sleeves. Principal, the location of the student given by Shadow Demon is outside the cemetery terrain. But this terrain has a special effect of ghost wall. Please wait, I will use props to eliminate this special effect first. Qingji said respectfully to the old man beside him. He was just about to take out a series of complex tools to destroy the special effect of the cemetery. The principal suddenly patted his shoulder from behind. Don't bother so much, it's just to get out, I'll do it. Just as the principal and Qingzi were beating the Shadow Demon in the cemetery. Outside the forest, Qinshi was looking at his reward. It was detected that the host defeated the S-level inheritor Scorpion, and the opponent was truly dead. You get 1000 inheritance value and 5 skill points. The reward options for killing Scorpion, Naruto Scorpion inheritance, are being expanded. You can choose a reward from the following options. 1. Secret technique puppetry 100 machines manipulation. Use the scroll to summon hundreds of puppets to participate in the battle. The actions of each puppet are controlled by the chakra line emitted by the regeneration core. The prerequisite for using this ninjutsu. Basic puppetry reaches LV4, and the development level of the regeneration core technology reaches LV3. 2. Manipulation human body twisting skill. Connect and manipulate the human body with chakra lines and use people as puppets. 3. Spiritual power gift. If you kill the S-level inheritor Scorpion, you can permanently obtain 1/5 of his spiritual power, which is calculated to be 2 cards. The host can also give up the option reward and choose the killing reward instead, which rewards 3000 inheritance points, 5 skill points, and 10 killing points. Please choose the host. 29. Ah, what did I see? 100 machine exercises. Qinshi looked at the first option excitedly. This is an S-level ninjutsu, a noble S-level. In the Naruto anime, S-level ninjutsu is the ceiling of ninjutsu, and it is a ninjutsu with the highest difficulty and strength. But he looked at the previous series of complex preconditions, basic puppetry, regeneration nuclear technology. He didn't have any of these. It reminds me of the feeling of looking at the gold in the window of a gold shop in my previous life. Although I was moved, I couldn't get it. Qinshi finally gave up the 100 machine exercises with regret. Although puppetry is also a good path, he has chosen Obito's inheritance, and he will have to fight the enemies in the future. He looked at the second skill. Performance human body puppetry. Qinshi thought about it. This should be the technique that the reincarnated Scorpion used against the Ninja Coalition when there was no puppet. Using living people as puppets, you can control friendly forces to help them fight, and you can also control enemies to attack. It's still a good technique. Unfortunately, I already have the skill of the string fruit parasitic string, and the skills are completely repeated. Passing both, Qinshi glanced at the killing reward that he usually didn't consider. This system, are you sure this reward is correct? This is much richer than the previous few times. Before he defeated the beautiful classmate who inherited the bamboo orchid, the killing reward was only 1000 inheritance points, 2 skill points and only 1 killing point. This time, the killing reward for killing Scorpion is 3000 inheritance points, 5 skill points, and the key is 10 killing points. The killing points increased by 900%. Not only that, even the initial reward for killing is richer than the last time. Although this Scorpion is much stronger than the previous S-level students, it is impossible to reward 9 times more. Could it be? He guessed a possibility. System, what you just released, is the killing reward. Answer the host, the S-level inheritor Scorpion has completely died, so it is a killing reward. It's unscientific. This forest has the ability to eliminate without injury if he dies. How could he die? For those who are determined to die, death is his destiny. He took the initiative to sacrifice his soul, and his soul has been devoured by the monster, and he has no intention of living. The ability of this forest can't save him. After listening to the system's reply, Qin Shi suddenly felt sad. It was not because he panicked after killing someone. If the enemy attacked him, he would not be merciful to the enemy. But this battle made him realize. This other world is complex and real. Some people desperately want to survive, while others want to die. Putting aside distractions, Qin Shi clicked on the killing reward. The host has made a choice, and the reward has been issued. He was not in a hurry to check the personal panel, as he had another exciting reward to receive. System, it's time to pay for the limited-time Secret Realm mission. Qin Shi rubbed his hands and urged the system. Ding, limited-time Secret Realm Mission 1, Plant Harvester Settlement begins. Task requirements. Kill 30 different types of mutant plants within 12 hours, current completion rate, 30/30. Settlement Judgment. Completed. 10 skill points, 1000 inheritance value rewards have been issued. Special ninjutsu, summoning technique, and a special summoning beast contract opportunity have been issued. As this, the feeling of getting rich. Qin Shi looked at the task settlement interface with a happy face. The biggest gain is this special summoning opportunity. Special summoning beast contract opportunity. Select any uncontracted monster, and after 15 minutes, the monster will automatically contract with the host and become the host's loyal summoning beast. With this contract opportunity, I can easily contract a super monster with a small investment. The Blue Eyes White Dragon in Yu-Gi-Oh!, Rayquaza in Pokemon, and Battle Greymon in Digimon, there are too many monsters I want to contract. Thinking that he can control those popular monsters, Qin Shi drooled. Don't be reckless, after all, you still have to hold on for 15 minutes. With my current strength, I'm afraid I'll be gone in 1 minute if I encounter Battle Greymon. And this contract opportunity can only be used once, alas, it's still too little. In the process of fighting Shadow Demon, he did consider using this contract opportunity. If the Earth Escape technique cannot escape the graveyard terrain, this contract opportunity will be his last resort. Fortunately it didn't work. That Shadow Demon looks stupid. I would lose a lot if I used it on it. Qin Shi opened his personal panel with satisfaction. Personal panel is expanding. Host, Qin Shi. Inheritance name, Six Paths Obito Naruto type. Inheritance level, LV8 5106,000. Current spiritual power value, 26 cards. Remaining skill points, 23. Killing points mastered, 11. Skills mastered. Kill a strong enemy and complete the Secret Realm mission. I, Qin Shi, have become rich again. Looking at the full 23 skill points, he immediately held his head high. The inheritance value rewards are also rich. It hasn't been long since I upgraded, and I can see the dawn of the next level upgrade. Qin Shi closed the character panel. First, upgrade the 8 gates. This is both a powerful move and a life-saving skill. Once I encounter a strong opponent, I will open the 8 gates in seconds, and then, run away. After opening 3 of the 8 gates, continue to upgrade. Each opening requires 3 skill points. There is no need to pay in installments. It's not like I don't have the ability. Qin Shi waved his hand and directly spent 9 skill points. Ding, the host spends 9 skill points, the 4th gate of the 8 gates of Dunjia, the 5th gate, the gate of Du, and the 6th gate, the gate of Jing. Qin Shi checked the descriptions of these 3 gates. The gate of damage can further increase the power and speed. In addition to fatigue, the body will also suffer some damage, entering the danger zone of the 8 gates of Dunjia, and truly entering the 8 gates of Dunjia state. The gate of Du, the body's ability is further improved, and the speed is enough to drive the air to lift the ground when moving, but the body damage is also greater. The gate of Jing, it can allow oneself to enter the final stage of the semi-open buffer state. The green energy emitted after opening the door will be maintained. You open the gate of Jing and automatically learn the 8 gates of Dunjia physical skills, toward the peacock. You exploded during the upgrade of the 8 gates of Dunjia, and the basic physical skills were automatically upgraded to LV4 Master Level. Master Level Basic Physical Skills. As soon as the system's broadcast sounded, Qin Shi felt a kind of enlightenment in his heart. He felt as if he could feel the breathing of every tiny skin in his body. With a thought, Qin Shi threw a punch. Pa! A loud bang sounded in the air. There was no spiritual power injected, but the wind from this punch surged, and the flowers and plants on the ground were all bent down by the excitement. This is the feeling of reaching the master level of physical skills, this sense of body control. Qin Shi felt the changes in his body. He even felt that he could fight a one-star monster with physical skills alone without any skills. And Chao Conk, tisk tisk, this is a big move. Chao Conk, the ultimate move used by Might Guy in the Naruto anime when he fought against Akatsuki's stand-in Kisame. Its principle is to open 6 gates, quickly improve the body's functions, and knock down the enemy with countless punches. Because this skill is too fast, it rubs the air to produce flames, which are as dazzling as peacock tail feathers, so it is called Chao Conk. But this move is the real trump card. Don't use it unless it's absolutely necessary. Although it's powerful, it hurts your body. There are still 14 skill points left. Qin Shi thought about it. Upgrading the skill from LV3 to LV4 will have a big improvement. The system has reminded me of this before. My inheritance is a Naruto inheritance. It's much easier to upgrade skills in the Naruto world, so the ninjutsu, taijutsu and genjutsu in Naruto are still my main means of fighting against the enemy. Then next, Qin Shi looked at his skill bar. Lightning Release, Chidori, this is the first epic skill he has obtained, and it is also a powerful attack skill. Chidori's current skill level is LV3. Compared with LV2, Chidori can be added to weapons and use basically all Chidori ninjutsu. But it's not enough. I want to see how high it can be upgraded to. Upgrade Chidori, Qin Shi shouted in his heart. Ding, does the host consume 10 skill points to upgrade Chidori from LV3 to LV4? Upgrade, Qin Shi affirmed. Ding, 10 skill points have been consumed, Thunder-style Chidori is upgrading. Congratulations to the host, Chidori has been upgraded to a higher level ninjutsu, Reikiri. Reikiri, Reikiri. Qin Shi was stunned for a moment, and then his face was ecstatic. It's an S-level ninjutsu, Kakashi's signature ninjutsu Reikiri. Chidori and Reikiri can be said to be the same ninjutsu, but they are different. Strictly speaking, the Chidori used by Kakashi when he was young is like an undeveloped ninjutsu with many disadvantages. For example, it needs to be stabbed at high speed to exert its maximum power. And it makes a lot of noise when used, just like its name, like 1,000 birds singing together. Such disadvantages doom Chidori to be unable to be used for assassination, and the preparation process is long. But the improved version of Chidori Reikiri has overcome these disadvantages. Noise elimination, so Kakashi has used Reikiri to sneak attack the opponent many times in the comics. The power is increased, and there is a good power without high-speed sprinting. And Reikiri is the name Kakashi changed after using Chidori to cut the lightning, and the power can be imagined. In order to overcome these shortcomings of Chidori and make it more perfect, the learning difficulty of Reikiri has also been raised to a higher level. So it was rated as S level. Qin Shi raised his right hand, and the lightning gathered in his palm instantly. He took out a kunai and shot it out. Boom! The kunai, with lightning, sank directly into the rocks in the distance, blasting the rocks apart. And Reikiri is more smoothly loaded on the weapon, and Chidori-style ninjutsu has also been perfected. It can also be called Reikiri-style in the future. Finally, there are 4 skill points left, and Qin Shi did not leave it. Added to the skill of the string fruit, parasitic thread. This skill is also very versatile and can control enemies weaker than oneself. But LV2 skills require Qin Shi to lay out the wires in advance. After upgrading to LV3, he can eject the parasitic thread transformed by spiritual power from his hand like a spring line. And the transparency of the line is also higher, and it is more concealed to use. There is only 1 skill point left, and I am poor again after getting rich. He sighed, but he is not a miser, and the skill points are to be used. If I don't improve my skills, will I tell the enemy after I die? I could have beaten you, but I just didn't add points to the deep blue. What's the difference between this and I could have had good grades, but I didn't study hard? Turn off the system, the sky has darkened a lot, and visibility has been greatly reduced. Just when he was about to find a place to wait for the night to come, a space crack appeared not far from him. A young man fell out first, followed by an old man with a naked upper body. Principal, can you please stop kicking my ass? The middle-aged man got up from the ground like a dog eating shit, and complained to the old man behind him in a low voice. The old man frowned. It's because you are dawdling there. We only have a few minutes. What if you dawdle and let the masked man go? Qin Shi looked at the two people who were arguing. Principal, Teacher Qingzi. As soon as he said this, he realized that he was still wearing a mask. The two people who were arguing were suddenly stunned and turned their heads together. Principal Bai walked over quickly, his tall body bent down, and his face pressed against Qin Shi's mask. Are you the student in the red school uniform who killed all the supernovas in the copy? Quote. Looking at the murderous look on the other party's face, Qin Shi was shocked. Oh no, was it exposed so soon? I was planning to keep a low profile and get away from the shadow demon when the day and night changed. I didn't expect that the school teacher would catch up with me. What should I do? Should I run? Qin Shi thought secretly in his heart. Open the 6 doors directly, and use the instant body technique. But he looked at the principal in front of him with a fierce look. This is the strongest inheritor. Even if I run, I will definitely not be able to escape. What should I do? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.